After the death of King Von, Quando Rondo and his entourage seemed marked for death. Amid rumours of a $1 million bounty on his head, he would need to move safe. But even before the feud with King Von, Lil Durk and his OTF collective, Quando Rondo had other people that would have wanted to see him dead too. A longtime member of Savannah, Georgia's Rollin' 60s Crips, with local set Only the Mob having deep ties to the streets and years of history catching serious charges, there was numerous groups and gangs from his native city that might have had it out for him. One such example was the crew known as SAK, or the Section 8 Kids, who was still hating on Quando Rondo and his crew. Only the Mob, OTM, sometime referred to as JOG or Jump Out Gang or 1027, Quando's crew were an enormous target for numerous people. And just like Lil Durk from Chicago, Quando Rondo's ops from Savannah would use music as an attempt to get back at them. For example, in April 2022, SAK Gutter drops the song Drill Time, along with a music video that started out with him crossing out 1027 and Jump Out Gang tags on a wall, and he would rap F1027 in this song. So at this point, Quando and his team have the most dangerous gang in Chicago trying to kill him, as well as numerous ops in his own native city of Savannah also looking to take his life. But Quando didn't seem bothered. After the release of Lil Tim and his new mixtape Still Taking Risks, it appeared that Quando and Tim had no fear about being outside or speaking their minds. In April, Quando Rondo would be broadcasting his daily activities, sliding openly through the streets of Savannah, accompanied by his mother and $50,000 in cash. He would be mobbing with his local friends like Phoenix and Big Tim, seemingly with an army of people watching his back throughout the area.
Yeah, ride around thugging with Mon Dukes today. 50 on me. Hey, y'all boy, I'm about to go in the store, be on the lookout. Alright. Okay, Trey. Going on. Why around Mon Dukes thugging today? Why? Mon Dukes, I got my little all around and shit. Hey, Phoenix, watch my car, cuz. Yeah, I'll watch. What's mobbing love, bro? What's going on?
I did,
Boy, you messed my auntie number up yesterday too, now. She hit for my birthday, she played 25 tickets. They're really supposed to be 150, right? Yeah, you messed my auntie number.
Mrs. Birthday.
Yeah, this big little Tim. Facts.
In this live, Quando is behaving like he truly runs the city, even proceeding to smoke a cigarette on live inside of the convenience store. At one point, Quando actually starts winning at a game, even calling up Lil Tim in the store, saying that he's up big money.
Call Lil Tim. I need some. Call Lil Tim. Call Lil Tim, big play. Big play. Call Lil Tim. Call Lil Tim, we up. Call Lil Tim. Woo! Right there. Right there. Call Lil Tim. Why you ain't calling him yet? No, you not. Yeah. I'm in that hitting, baby. Check me out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Big play, what it's doing? What I hit for? Man, 30,000. Speaking it to existence. Okay. Woo! Lil Tim. Lil Tim. Lil Tim.
I see you.
Stop playing now. Stop playing now. I don't play no games. Get that ready, Nanny. Get that ready, Nanny. Come on now. Joanna. I ain't been in here 5 minutes and I done hit that. Joanna.
Hold on, so they gonna give you this in cash?
Watch out, don't touch nothing. You touch something, you gonna pay for it.
Ain't no money in there, ain't no pressure on no money.
But you still owe me goddamn.
I'm gonna scan this money.
How you gonna scan it? Do something to it. Alright. How much that is?
$330.
See, man, you hit my birthday for $330.
It's interesting because you can actually really see the close friendship that Quando and Tim had in these little moments. On May the 11th, 2022, Lil Tim does an interview with Fuchsia's TV where he spoke on the Von situation. He didn't go too in detail about the events of that night, but he did boldly claim that he did what any good friend would want them to do.
No matter where you at, like, they would have wanted their partner to be there for them.
So while Quando and Tim were out here living life and speaking openly about their thoughts on this situation, behind the scenes, Quando's ops from different cities were making connections and plotting against him and his people. In May, S8K members seen on Instagram Live with O-Block members who were friends with King Von. It seemed like Lil Durk was still on the hunt and looking for ways to potentially get his revenge on Quando or Lil Tim for the death of King Von. And Durk wasn't even keeping this a secret. On June the 3rd, 2022, Lil Durk says that he's still trying to nail him, i.e. kill Quando, on the track Keep Dissing 2 with Boston Richie. Durk would go on to liken himself to King Von, rapping, "Bro got bodies, he's a demon child, I'm brothers to a devil." After the Slide for Von trend had become so popular, it seemed to be common knowledge that Lil Durk and the people around him were openly trying to have Quando Rondo killed. But despite their earlier sentiments, Quando and Tim weren't all about the negativity. In August 2022, in an effort to give back to his community, Lil Tim did a book bag drive in a Savannah church. Unfortunately, despite making small positive steps, the negativity of gang life in Savannah would prevail. A few days before a scheduled trip to Los Angeles, one of Quando's close friends, Fendi, is killed in a shooting on West 38th Street. After cops responded to reports of shots fired around 3 AM on the 800 block of West 38th Street, they would find 22-year-old Fendi, real name Phoenix Odom, dead at the scene.
Right now, a man dead and police are scrambling to figure out who killed him. Here's a look at the crime scene on the west side of Savannah, where you can see investigators gathering evidence for hours overnight. Now, that shooting happened early this morning on West 38th and Bullock Streets. As soon as we learn more about what led to that shooting, we will bring it to you.
Unsurprisingly, Quando's enemies would mock the death of his close friend, but despite the tragedy that took place in Savannah, Quando and his team would press on with their trip to Los Angeles, where initially they'd seemingly be having a good time, as Quando and Lil Pab would post clips to social media showing them in the back of a car, popping a bottle and enjoying the good life. However, unfortunately, it was here in Los Angeles when tragedy would strike again. On August the 19th, 2022, just before 5:30 PM, while sitting in their SUV, Quando Rondo and Lil Pab would be the targets of an assassination attempt, as 3 masked gunmen would approach Quando Rondo's car whilst parked at a gas station right near popular LA tourist destination, the Beverly Center, where these shooters would open fire. The police chief would later describe the shooters as having gotten out of a white car in dark clothing, shooting, and fleeing immediately after the shooting in what seemed to be a professional hit job.
They gassed up their vehicle, and as they were getting into their vehicle, a white car approached from the alley. 3 men got out of that car. They were in all dark clothing. They approached, fired numerous shots, and then left in that white car going eastbound in the alley north of Beverly. It does appear that we don't see any kind of argument or anything go on beforehand, so clearly these men came here with a mission in mind.
KCAL News would give viewers a good look at the alley where the shots were fired from, and Fox 11 News Los Angeles would break down the entire series of events, explaining that the shooting took place at the gas station, which was followed by an attempt to flee by Quando's entourage, where they drove a short distance before pulling over to seek medical attention for Lil Pab, who was hit in the shooting.
Once that SUV is hit by the gunfire, they take off, they hit the gas, and they drive a few blocks away into West Hollywood. They wind up stopping over at Santa Monica and San Vicente, right in the very heart of West Hollywood. You know, over there by the sheriff's station, also by the West Hollywood Park. They pull over there because the wounds to the man who was hit inside the Escalade too severe. He's bleeding. They pull over. 911 is called. Paramedics rush in. They take the injured man who's hit by gunfire to the ER. He does not make it, does not survive.
This essentially created 2 separate crime scenes, the scene of the shooting and the scene of where Quando's car stopped, with a KTLA-5 helicopter putting surveillance on both of these scenes soon after the incident. According to KCAL, when Quando's car stopped, a pedestrian flagged down a sheriff deputy who began to help Quando and a wounded Lil Pab in a dramatic scene that was captured on camera by bystanders.
And that's where sheriff deputies were then flagged down by a pedestrian during rush hour on a Friday, right around 5:30. They found the victim with a gunshot wound and inside of a black Cadillac Escalade. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital. That is where we are told he died. His identity currently being withheld until family is notified.
Quando Rondo would be filmed by passers-by, breaking down at the scene and screaming in disbelief as his wounded friend Lil Pab is pulled from the car and given CPR, with this heartbreaking scene quickly going viral and being broadcast on most major news outlets.
Somebody got shot, bro.
I'm pressed.
I get it. Can I get some space, please? Hold on. Talk to my partner, okay? I'm gonna help you out. I don't know.
I know, Baker. I know. What was that?
Unfortunately, Lil Pab would pass away in hospital as a result of his injuries, leaving Quando Rondo devastated, not just at the scene, but with later social media posts memorializing his close friend and cousin. Lil Pab was one of Quando's right-hand men, someone who had been there for him during his come-up and stayed by his side when the whole industry turned against him. Pab had now lost his life, highly likely as a direct result of the $1 million bounty placed on Quando's head following the killing of King Von. Ironically, with Pablo's death coming just a week before he was set to face trial for his 2019 RICO charges. But instead of Pab facing justice, Los Angeles police would now be looking to catch whoever did this brazen and professional murder. This was a brazen and professional hit, with the shooters clearly not caring about the fact that this took place in broad daylight in a busy tourist district. In fact, this scenario was eerily similar to the murder of FBG Duck by members of King Von's gang, O-Block. After all, both of these shootings would seemingly take place right in front of popular tourist destinations. In this situation, Los Angeles' Beverly Center.
To give you an idea, the shots rang out there and right across the street, the Beverly Center. Imagine that, 5:30 in the afternoon. Incredibly, no one else hit by the gunfire.
However, in the aftermath of the incident, there would be a lot of conflicting narratives regarding who was responsible. Members of the LA-based gang, the Hoover Criminals, would be quick to celebrate Quando's misfortune, no doubt a result of the feud between Quando and the Hoovers many years before. Interestingly, after the incident, posts would circulate with captions saying, "Not Dirk's work," which, if you ask me, is a little bit suspicious. After all, Quando had been warned by the Hoovers when he went to LA in 2019, and since he's a member of Savannah's Rollin' 60 Crips, and that the Hoover Criminals are local enemies of Los Angeles' Rollin' 60s Crips, the Hoovers clearly had a grudge against Quando since he had been seen making a disrespectful hand sign towards the Hoovers a few years ago. But that was years ago, and at this point Quando's beef with the Hoovers seemed much more about social media, unlike his beef with the Chicago rappers, which had already claimed the life of King Von. And despite these early reports that the Hoovers were responsible for the shooting, it would actually be friends and associates of King Von who were quick to celebrate the most hard following the killing of Lil Pab. Friends of Von would post pictures of him on IG following the shooting, with some going as far as to say, "Ain't no time frame on that get back," even posting pictures of Quando saying it should have been him. King Von and Lil Durk's DJ Bands would mock Quando Rondo, taking to Instagram saying that he was signing artists to Belt to Ass Records.
Belt to Ass Records, you know what I'm saying? We signed, man. Anybody could get signed, man. That's all you gotta do is play crazy out here. You get your ass signed, man.
O-Block member and friend of King Von, D Bands, would later be on live in O-Block along with other gang members claiming to be smoking Lil Pab.
Tell her who we smoking. We smoking. What's dude name? Lil Pab at the pizza.
Meanwhile, other OTF affiliates would mock Quando Rondo and tell fans to guess who they're smoking.
Seeing me be like, no! Y'all killing me with these nose. No! They killing me. Look at their nose. They killing me. Y'all killing me with these nose, man. No!
Swiping, no swiping.
Guess when we rolling up this morning.
Even OTF affiliate Lil Vani, who had actually gone back and forth on Clubhouse with both Quando and Pab himself, would take to social media to mock Quando for losing two friends, saying that when it rains it pours, and that Quando should keep his chin up. Despite the disrespect coming from the people who wanted Quando and his friends dead, Quando's team would not be discouraged. Lil Tim would post tributes to Pab on his Instagram and his Twitter with a flurry of posts honoring his fallen friend. In one tweet, Tim tells Pablo to say what's up to Sosa and Stucky in heaven, and expressing disbelief about this sudden loss. Lil Pab's brother would also post from his account, saying that he was a real one who stood on business, and saying that he's got Quando's back forever. Even NBA Youngboy would post twice, seemingly indicating that Get Back was on the way, and saying that he truly wants what's coming to him, but it might take some time, even describing the situation as sad and wicked. Youngboy's ominous but tasteful statement would be in stark contrast to the other side. After many of Von's friends had posted disrespectful things on social media towards Quando, one person would stand out from them all, taking the disrespect to a whole new level. A few days after the shooting, a Chicago black disciple named Famous Richard makes a skit and music video mocking Quando's reaction to the Lil Pab shooting.
Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV. This man, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight.
The song was literally called "No," and the hook was famous Richard just screaming "no" like Quando did when he saw Lil Pap die. This song was even promoted encouraging other people to do the impression of Quando shouting "no," calling it the Quando Rondo Challenge. In response to this, Quando Rondo's friend Jump Out Gang Black, the person who made the song King Tim Story, would clap back with an IG story, saying that things are much deeper than they seem and that people are false claiming this incident, even adding that he is planning to make somebody pay. Meanwhile, a few days after the incident, amid the disrespect coming from King Von's friends and affiliated black disciples in Chicago, Lil Tim takes to Twitter to diss Slutty, tweeting "the Slutty way," a reference to King Von's friend Slutty, who had tried and failed to execute Tim the night Von died, ultimately end up being killed by the police. But once the dust settled on this incident, those involved would need to hop off the internet and begin to deal with the real-life consequences of the situation. In September, Lil Tim would be seen at Lil Pap's funeral, and while rumors had circulated that Quando wouldn't be attending the funeral, he'd later be seen carrying the casket along with Lil Tim and others. After the ceremony, Lil Tim would be popping champagne at Lil Pap's wake. And considering just how much of Quando's great artistry has come from him channeling his pain into great songs, it's no surprise that it didn't take him long to open up about the death of his right-hand man Pab in Pain songs. On August 30th, 2022, Quando Rondo opens up about the situation on the song Give Me a Sign with NBA Youngboy, rapping that people were testing him and now a rapper got killed, as well as saying it broke his heart to see Lil Tim get shot and then charged with murder just for protecting him. Elsewhere on the song, NBA Youngboy raps about King Von sleeping with his ex, saying that he couldn't cope with it, and saying that him and Quando have been blackballed in the music industry for what Lil Tim did to King Von. This would give fans an insight into the pain that Quando and Youngboy had been going through, living with the consequences of King Von's death as a result of their rap beef. But what was still a mystery was who exactly was responsible for this most recent murder of Lil Pap. Soon, the internet would begin piecing together the clues, with a suspicious eye being cast towards the LA branch of the Rolling 60s Crips. Now initially, Quando seemed to have a connection with the LA wing of the same gang he represented in Savannah. He had been seen with Rolling 60s members in LA on his previous trip when he was pressured by the Hoovers, and it seemed that Quando was familiar with that age-old process where the world of rappers and gangsters collide, known as checking in. This is the idea that rappers have to contact the local gang and negotiate protection whilst visiting a new city. This checking in process may or may not involve a payment, or it might simply operate on a mutual respect being shown. Many rappers like Lil Baby have seen showing love to LA's Rolling 60s as part of an apparent checking in process. Here's Lil Baby in Rolling 60s territory with legendary Rolling 60s Crip rapper Nipsey Hussle. A former Crip leader by the name of Big U actually broke down the process of checking in to Charlemagne in an interview on The Breakfast Club.
Explain extortion to us. Would the rappers really be getting extorted by the gang members?
Because if you coming out here, you eating, and you in the club, and nobody know you, and you bringing your crew, then what happened?
You fool.
You fool!
Interestingly, Quando had actually had numerous interactions with legendary LA Crip Big U in the lead up to this tragic incident. Big U had claimed on The Breakfast Club that Quando had reached out to him for protection, and suggested that despite claiming Rolling 60s, Quando had never showed him love until he begun having problems with Dirk after Von's death.
You know, you got a lot of dudes, like when I was here last time, that claim my neighborhood that's in this music, but they don't really us until it's a problem. Then they call him. Like Quando Rondo. I just showed Envy. Like, you can't call me now. You can't call me when the fire hot. You didn't me before that. You know what I mean? You had my number, you could have called me, you could have did all that.
This comment elicited a response from Quando, who denied ever calling Big U for protection, instead saying that he was asking how he could give back to the Rolling 60s in LA.
It's time for me to start straightening my face, politics-wise. You feel me? It's time for me to leave this street in the streets and just play my role with this internet. I never once called nobody, no on planet Earth for no protection. Because I don't fear no man. Why would I wait to get in some Anybody that I ever called, I call on some like, how can I help? How can I do this? How can I do that? I never called no person on planet Earth for protection.
Big U would reply to this, claiming to have love for Quando, but also suggesting that he was planning to pull up on him and that he was in his town.
First of all, I never talked to Quando. You know, it ain't nothing but love with Quando. And I was only addressing something that Charlemagne had said to me. And my nephew reaching out to do something for the kids, definitely do that. Because I never talked to him. He just asked me if somebody reached out. I just feel like I know Cuz and I've been knowing him. And I never heard from him after we had a conversation maybe a year and a half ago. No, maybe 2 years ago. And then, so when he called me I'm only on positive vibes. So I'm gonna pull up on Cuz, or he can pull up on me. I'm in his town right now, so, but I ain't got nothing but love for nephew. And he talked to my son them a week ago about whatever they was talking about. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Big U would claim to not be doing anything with Quando if it's about anything negative.
Quando want to do something for the kids, for the family. I'm definitely with him on that. You know, definitely support him. But nah, if it ain't positive, man, I'm not rocking with it. I'm just not rocking with nothing unless it's positive. 100. Period. So I'm not even taking negative calls, man. I'm not looking for no negative calls. I'm not taking negative calls. If I think it's gonna be negative, I'm not taking it. If it ain't positive, if it ain't about doing something constructive and helping these kids, I'm out of it. But no, I never talked to nephew. You know what I mean? I never talked to him as he called me, because I'm on all positive vibes. But I will talk to Quando.
And months later, Big U would appear on No Jumper in an interview where he seemingly apologized to Quando and indicated that there had been a miscommunication.
Somebody got to be a man at some point and say they was wrong. Like as far as Quando Rondo, I was wrong for saying it, but he was wrong for not reaching to his homeboy. And then on the same line that I reached out to you, you reached back out to me on it. You know what I'm saying? But I apologize to my homeboy. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where it starts and stops. Somebody got to apologize. They was wrong. I was wrong.
And then, a couple of months later, in August 2021, Quando is in Los Angeles on a trip the year before the death of Lil Pap. And on this trip, he would appear in a sit-down interview with Big U himself, the ridiculously titled Checking In podcast on World Star Hip Hop, with Big U starting off the podcast welcoming Quando to LA.
Checking in with my young fella, Quando.
Dad.
Yeah, man. What's up, young fella?
Coolin'.
Is you in California, huh?
You dig?
You see? You know what I'm saying?
The land.
Man, I'm glad to have you, man.
These two would seemingly patch over their past feud and exchange mutual apologies, with Big U elaborating, saying that his nephew said that he did Quando wrong and vouched for him.
As a man, my little homie called me, and he told me, Unc, you was wrong. But I'ma say I was wrong too, because you said I was wrong.
This was an interesting interview where Quando would open up about a lot of things he was going through during this time. Quando feels that every song he puts out, people assume he's dissing certain people, but he says he has so many beefs going on that people actually get it wrong.
I be saying like a lot of stuff I say like in songs and stuff like, this ain't the only person I have a problem with. Like, I ain't talking to this person. Anything say, they gonna put it that way.
Quando would also explain that his enemies are actively trying to stop his money by making shows so dangerous that venues keep on canceling.
They trying to stop my money. You feel me? Fans thinking I'm high, and when they don't know, like I'm dying to do shows and stuff.
Big U would also explain the process of checking in with Quando, saying exactly what a rapper should expect if they check in with the Rollin' 60s in LA.
You might check in with me. I'm gonna tell you what clubs to go to and what clubs not to go to. They ain't dealing with the right people. If I go to Chicago, if any of my artists is going different places, I tell them call this dude. Because he treated me right, he gonna treat y'all right.
Quando would also claim that he could never stop being a Crip.
I'm real heavy like on cripping, period. I'm gonna do that to the day I die. Sometimes I ask the Lord, when I be asking the Lord for forgiveness, first thing pop up in my head is, boy, I can't stop being no Crip though. You feel me?
Quando would explain that you don't have to be a killer to be a Crip, and that anyone can identify as a Crip.
I always tell them like, cuz, you don't have to be a killer to be a Crip. You don't have to be no shooter to be no Crip. You ain't gotta be no jack boy to be no Crip. You could be a dentist and be a Crip. You just a Crip. That's a dentist.
Quando and Big U seemingly left things on good terms after this interview. However, a year later, after the Los Angeles assassination attempt on Quando Rondo that claimed Lil Pab's life, Big U would appear on social media, seemingly taking a dig at Quando, saying that if he took a loss, he wouldn't leave his gang, and there would be no crying from him.
Imagine all the dudes, and when the storm came, they folded their tent, they went inside, or they shut down. No, they ain't what no real do. When it get hard for me, I get quiet and I get still, because I need to hear all the doors is opening.
Then, a week later, on September the 6th, 2022, Quando Rondo would come out on social media to say publicly that he's no longer representing the Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips, and that he's laying his blue bandana down, essentially explaining that the Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips in LA are linked up with his ops, essentially inferring that someone from the LA Rollin' 60s is who set him up to get shot at in LA, leading to Lil Pab's death, all on behalf of somebody trying to avenge King Von, with Quando saying it don't take rocket science to see what's going on, and ending the message saying that he's now just going to focus on his family and his loved ones. In response to this, LA Crip Jay Stone would reply saying you can't just drop your flag and quit the gang, and that real Crips lose homies all the time, and not everyone is going to slide for you. Quando would seemingly respond to this with a follow-up post, essentially warning people not to talk about him, saying he doesn't care because he's rich, has 200k, and can knock down anyone in his way. One theory about how the Rollin 60s might have set up Quando Rondo has been linked to an LA-based Rollin 60s rapper by the name of Bricc Baby. Bricc Baby dropped a verse on YG's 2016 song, the menacingly titled track Don't Come to LA, a song all about robbing and shooting out-of-towners. He'd also openly claimed not to like Quando in an August 2021 No Jumper interview, calling him out for claiming Rolling 60s and trying to get Big U and the LA Crips to try and squash his beef with Lil Durk and the Black Disciples, essentially saying that Quando needs to check in every time he comes to LA.
It's like Quando Rondo.
You're not with him.
Boy, stop. Don't come to the 60s and want to provide now that bro that boy your ass.
Well, that's gotta be weird for you because you with Durk so much.
It ain't weird for me. You know what I'm saying? You're not from Rolling 60s.
Oh, really?
You're not from LA Rolling 60s. You're not from Rolling 60s.
Right.
You gotta come talk to the streets.
Big U's a little removed from a lot of it.
Nah, he is the streets. So
Right.
You gotta come talk to the people who feet in the streets. You gotta come clear yourself on both angles. You get what I'm saying? You gotta come holler at somebody.
I feel it.
Period. You went to go holler at Big U. You went to go holler at Hollywood. Like, that ain't Hollywood. He really my big dog. That's my big bro. Whatever he say, if he say hold down, we gonna try as much. You know what I'm saying?
He would even claim to have connected with King Von through Lil Durk when he was alive, and despite not being a Black Disciple himself, Bricc Baby said that he considers Lil Durk his brother.
Von was in and out of jail, so I done seen Von when I was down there in the O, all that shit, when I be going to Chicago and all that shit. If my boy lose a close homie, on the hood, that's my boy. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my boy. I'm not from BD. I'm from 60s. But you lose you my boy, like my ops, your ops at this point.
He'd even been seen in the studio with Lil Durk in the months before the shooting, and in an Atlanta vlog where he said that he'd been friends with Lil Durk and the Black Disciples all the way since 2015. Bricc Baby was even rolling with OTF member Doody Low in January 2022, calling their alliance 6OTF.
How do you know my friend Bricc Baby Shitra over here?
That's gang. I've been knowing bro for like 5 years solid.
Wow.
Like 7.
7. Who else you tap with out here in LA?
Bricc Baby.
That's it.
I don't, you know,
Just days after that shooting at the Beverly Center, Bricc Baby would post on social media telling Quando that he's a fake Crip for not checking in with him and giving them money and guns.
If you from out of town and you banging the hood from California, you're an imitation gangbanger if you do not check in. If you do not make sure your hood is funded, you don't make sure your hood got blicks, if you don't make sure your hood got sticks and the kids is eating over there, a couple who put you down with the play family is straight, you're an imitation because a motherfucker don't deal with the same enemies we deal with in LA.
Bricc Baby goes on to comment on Quando's claim of dropping his Rolling 60s Crip flag, saying that Quando can't leave a gang that he was never in.
You can't leave a hood that you never was in. You claiming our hood. You cannot leave a hood you never was in unless you just get put off. Stop claiming it. If you don't want to deal with street politics, stop gangbanging.
With all of this content floating around, it's no surprise then that rumours would spread that Bricc Baby had something to do with this. Allegations which he personally denied on social media.
Stop playing with a name, cuz. Stop playing with my name. Point blank, period. On 6-0 Crip. Die every day. Don't got nothing to do with me. On 6-0, you internet ass, steady putting stories together. You is on the street. No, I don't got nothing to do with it. Stop calling my phone, talking about, oh, hey, you know, man, on 6-0, man. On hood, them boys got ops. On 6-0, ain't none of my crashing out Beverly Hills in broad daylight. What's wrong with you?
With this whole situation even provoking a response from NBA Youngboy, who said, wait till I start talking. However, from here, Bricc Baby would bizarrely go on to do a series of interviews speaking on the situation directly, telling Cam Capone News that Quando was smart to try and squash his beef with Big U.
It was a great move for him, like, to go check in with the big dog, because that's our big dog. So you trying to get him to soften up the people that's around your age and, you know what I'm saying, still outside. He's still outside too, but you get what I'm saying, to soften it up for us. So if we come around and just say I did something to him and he called big bro, like, oh, but big bro called me like, man, I told you it was cool. You know what I'm saying? He went that way. But the whole thing is, that's not the age group that you beefing with. You know what I'm saying? You beefing with Dirk, right? You want to get a message to Dirk, that's my boy. So the age group that you dealing with, he still, even when Unc get the message, he gonna have to call me to get the bro. I'm the closest one to bro. You get what I'm saying?
Bricc Baby would also express how surprised he was when he heard that Quando, an apparent Rollin 60 Crip, had killed a Chicago black disciple, the King Von situation, with Bricc Baby thinking that he'd thought Quando had a good relationship with the black disciples because of his earlier connection to Lil Durk.
I'm like, damn, a 60 killed the BD? Like, they don't know how close we is? Like, these are boys. Like, what the been going on? And I'm like, he's been living in LA with them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are boys. Like, what is going on?
But Bricc Baby once again would outright deny being responsible, saying you must be smoking dope to believe that.
With me with 2 strikes, what I'm gonna get out of putting for a killed broad daylight in Beverly Hills, man, you gotta be smoking good crystal. You gotta be smoking big dope, Chris Brown style. You know what I'm saying? Dead homies. Wrong crib.
Bricc Baby would later be asked in a September the 11th, 2022 interview with Cam Capone News about these rumours that continued to spread that he was personally involved in the incident that claimed Lil Pab's life, with Bricc Baby claiming to have been in Atlanta at the time of the incident.
There was the Quan and Rondo situation at the Beverly Hills, in Beverly Hills at the gas station. I guess there was rumors about you?
Yeah. I was in Atlanta, so 100% the police know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let the police do their job, because I ain't not finna put me in the middle of no murder while I'm raising my kids.
He would go on to say that he wouldn't even comment whether or not he was involved with it.
Now, if y'all caught me slipping on camera and I really popped something and y'all got it, like, it's all on the internet, it's like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be commenting on it, though. I wouldn't be saying, hey, leave my name out of it. I'd probably go the scary way and just blank out all social media and just get up out of here somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about it. They're going to have to come find me. I'm not operating with a phone or nothing after I do.
He would also go on to say that he isn't surprised that people think he's involved due to his past history with Lil Durk, but he denied believing that Lil Durk could have possibly been involved in the hit.
Were you surprised when you started hearing rumors about yourself?
Hell yeah. No, hell no. As soon as I seen, at first I seen, all right, I landed in Atlanta, boom. They say he got shot at a football game in South Georgia. He was shot too. So I'm looking, I'm like, damn, ain't catch a break. Cause I was like, didn't he just lose a homeboy like the day before that or something? I'm like, watch what the internet do with this. I already knew it was coming. I just was laughing. I doubt Dirk had something to do with 600. Like, I don't see how.
A few days later, Bricc Baby even said in a September the 15th, 2022 interview that there's an old saying that you're not a Rollin 60 until you kill another Rollin 60, an allusion to the death of Nipsey Hussle at the hands of Eric Holder, another Rollin 60.
At a point, it was like everybody in LA used to say, oh yeah, you ain't a real 60 till you kill a 60. But it's like our hood big, and it been internal beefs for years.
He would also clown Quando Rondo for attempting to change sets after the death of his friend, laughing at him for trying to tap out the gang like it's wrestling.
Have you ever thought about leaving the set alone? Because recently there was a young rapper who said he's done with that. He said he's done with that. But
hey. Said 1, 2, 3. Man, never in life. Even if I was like, we got retired gangbangers in the hood.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? It's the way you go about it. You go never drop your flag though.
Around a month after the shooting, Bricc Baby would be seen on social media flexing with bundles of cash, and releasing a new song with OTF artist C3, a track called Brick Lato, a track which had C3 rapping, "I heard they claim in 60, have them real hoods get at you," as well as rapping, "They drop that location, we at your spot, we pulling up like peekaboo," with this release sparking yet more speculation that Bricc Baby had actually been signed to Lil Durk's OTF label just a month after the shooting, with an OTF affiliate jumping on this song with him, seemingly claiming responsibility for the deed. But Bricc Baby would duly deny his involvement in the incident in yet another Cam Capone interview.
And then there was the rumors about you signing to OTF. Is there anything to that?
Nah, man, it ain't nothing to it. I mean, it's OTF. We got in the works, but it ain't no locked in type situation. They just see me on the gram with a gang of money and just think that it's that.
However, Bricc Baby would continue to drop songs like the track Murder Dance with I Swear Vezo, where he raps, "I just gave 100 bands to my murder man, I prepaid for 10 bodies," and "He don't need a stretcher, he need a body bag. He was dissing on the net, we finally caught his ass. Only thing I'm regretting is I ain't wear a mask." And lyrics saying, "Broad daylight, knock his brains out, dropped 50 on his car, knock his frame out." But Bricc Baby would have people really surprised when he said outright in a No Jumper interview with Poetic Flacco that people can no longer tell Lil Durk that he needs to slide for Von because of what happened to Lil Pap.
Oh, they did something. Oh, slide for him. Oh, you a bitch. Oh, yeah.
Slide for Von, right? Yeah.
They say you can't say that no more.
Why? Oh yeah, because of no. Like
they
who died?
Say you can't say that no more.
Oh, because of FBG Cash? Or who?
Nah, because Lil Pop.
Oh, what's that?
But I'm just saying, they just say you can't say that no more. That's the new term, like no more slide for Von.
And do you feel like you now have earned your way into the quote unquote OG status now?
Definite.
Right.
Not like that. It's just like because of the way I carry myself.
He would go on to say that Quando has to lay in the bed that he made by not showing love to the Rolling 60s Crips in LA.
You should have been doing the right thing from off the rip. That's what they say. The bed, you gonna lay in the bed that you make. That's just a perfect example. Like, hey, if you would have handled your connections or your people, whatever you had, the right way before it jumped off.
And saying that Quando was dumb for beefing with Durk, who has $20 to $30 million to his name.
And just signed the deal for like 20, 30 million, Durk, right?
Yes.
Who the the beef would come for you? This nigga got too much money, man. You get what I'm saying? Like, listen, man.
Don't beef with rich people.
Don't beef with rich people, man. Unless you gonna slide. And you don't need to say nothing out loud. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, point blank period. Don't put that bagger thing on your head.
These bold comments attracted shock on Twitter from other apparent members of the Rolling 60s Crips, and Bricc Baby would later deny his comments were self-snitching, reaffirming once again that he has nothing to do with the shooting.
Never said nobody did nothing. On the dead homies, I ain't say Durk did nothing, I ain't say nobody did nothing. I said the internet say you can't say slide move on no more. We don't got nothing to do with them games the boys was playing. 6-7. Dead homies. And I doubt Durk just got called just rolling around in LA. Come on, let's make it make sense.
But even as recently as April 2023, Bricc Baby is still releasing music like his most recent track, Not Enough, which came with lyrics where he seemingly admitted outright to lining people up and boldly proclaiming to have been paid in excess of $1 million for setting someone up to get killed. All of these public statements paint a picture of the LA Rolling 60s being involved in this incident. But for the record, at the time of making this video, this crime is still completely unsolved, and there's been no substantial evidence to tie anybody to the murder of Lil Pap. This murder, just being the latest senseless killing, is yet another dark moment in hip-hop history. Just like the death of King Von, there really are no winners here. Thankfully, Quando Rondo survived this assassination attempt, but he still lost one of those people who had been closest to him throughout his entire come-up. Fortunately, Quando wouldn't be deterred, and he would return to music, channeling his pain into yet more meaningful hit songs. In fact, Quando Rondo would team up with both NBA Youngboy and Lil Tim to record an entire album of music speaking openly on everything that had happened over the past few years. After years of disrespect and violence, karma was finally catching up to YBC in the summer of 2024. After many of their most violent members had been taken off the streets by Philly DA Larry Krasner, there were few active members ready to defend the block, and the number of soldiers still in play for YBC was dwindling by the day. In early August 2024, a YBC member called Kwame Hall, aka Mir Pablo, was arrested after attending the sentencing of Arshad Curry. Later posts on Reddit suggested that he had been arrested in connection with the murder of someone called Arifi in 2023. Real name Sharif King, he was gunned down on July the 8th, 2023 in an incident that was caught on camera. YBC Doll was likely feeling crushed at this point. With the huge sentence handed out to Curry and another one of his friends, a prominent YBC member Mir Pablo, getting arrested the same day, things were looking tough for the YBC camp, and the fans and pundits were truly noticing it. On the 7th of August, Philly-focused YouTube journalist American Confidential dropped a 23-minute video all about how Doll had asked fans to pray for YBC after Mir Pablo's arrest.
I ain't even gonna lie, bro. Stop commenting for Mir Pablo on my page, bro. That not right. That bro, they said he went rogue. R-O-G-U-E. Look it up. Look at the definition of it. Rogue. But that's bad, bro. Yo, but I ain't gonna lie, man. Pray for YBC, man.
Doll's comments about Mir not being right and going rogue was actually a reference to his recent post, inferring that somebody is snitching following this arrest. Despite feeling down about the fate of his friends, YBC Doll was more popular in music than he had ever been, and he was collaborating with more prominent YouTube documentary makers to help spread his message, and doing so in rather bizarre ways. On the 17th of August 2024, YBC Doll released a very unusual video. A music video for a song called McBuckingham, featuring a verse and appearance from YouTuber Brandon Buckingham, who didn't rap any violent or disrespectful lyrics himself. Unfortunately, got kind of used as a bit of a prop by YBC Doll, who used the video title to make another pointed diss towards Booger. And the video used AI, like Doll did in the McNuggets and McButtons video, to make it seem like Brandon Buckingham was actually Ronald McDonald, a twisted play on Booger's fast food job. And on the second verse, YBC Doll didn't hold back, spitting, "He had a fast food job, he should have worked where they let you take it out." Clear dig at Booger's job at McDonald's, and Doll would continue twisting the knife, going even further, ending the verse with the line, "Booger felt that McButton bust his top." Despite Booger having been dead for 8 months by this point, YBC Doll showed no signs of letting up, continuously dragging Booger's name through the mud to antagonize his brother Sani Goon and their gang CCK. I found this part to be a little bit chilling, and the way that Doll kind of dragged an arguably unsuspecting Brandon Buckingham into the disrespect. I caught up with Brandon in an interview on my second channel where he broke down the history of this collab and explained that he actually told Doll that he didn't really want to be on a track that was dissing dead people.
Like, I know I got a lot of criticism for that song, hopping on that song. I wanted to do a song because we did a song together. You saw how that organically happened. We're hanging out, we're filming. The rapper wants to go to the studio, so we go to the studio. I wanted to hop on the beat first, so I did my verse with Duel rapping about drug addiction and whatnot. Then he did his verse. I thought it sounded good. I didn't know what he was talking about. And then we did the music video. It was supposed to go in the vlog. He ends up wanting to drop it on its tape, and I'm like, yeah, that should be fine. And then as I'm doing my research, I'm like, this might put a target on my back. Like, you're dissing people in the song. I don't know if this is a good idea. And he's like, it's fine. Like, look at Skrilla. I've done all these songs with Skrilla. Skrilla's fine. It's no big deal. And I'm like, whatever. And then he says he wants to do a music video.
I'll be honest, man. Like, when I saw that video, I almost felt like bad for you, because I almost felt like you'd been tricked and maybe like sucked into some danger that maybe you didn't sign up for. Because I saw that, and like I break down music professionally, right? So I listened to your verse and I'm like, there's nothing really offensive. You're talking about drug addiction and like your experiences and like stuff that you and people around you died. Yeah, exactly, stuff that's gone on around you. That's what rap's about. That's authentic rap. You're talking about what's true to you. You're not realizing that he's putting you, like, I think what was interesting was it's like, you didn't say anything offensive. You probably didn't realize anything offensive was going down. But then the context that Dull's kind of placed you in with the whole Buckingham thing and then the Ronald McDonald thing, it's almost like, I kind of felt bad for you. I felt like, damn, like he kind of a real disrespectful gangster kind of tricked you into some dangerous. Like, did you feel that way?
Yeah, I don't want to act like I'm a victim or anything. Like, I'm a 29-year-old grown man. I should have been smarter. But you know, just I don't know. I don't want to say he tricked me. Long live Duel. I really like Duel. It was my decision, and you know, I apologize to the families of the people that were dissed on that song. Like, I didn't mean to diss them, and I know how it looked. I never chose the song or the title McBuckingham. We weren't wearing clown makeup. I know Poetic Flocka was like, he's wearing clown makeup. Like, no, that was an AI thing. That was not my decision.
Now, it turned out that this collab came out off the back of a new documentary that Brandon had made exclusively with Doll that came out on his channel a few days after the song. So on August the 22nd, 2024, Brandon Buckingham would release his video titled The Most Hated Rapper in Philadelphia, Life as Mr. Disrespectful. In the video, Brandon would apparently use information from Doll to tell the stories of his many friends in YBC and what happened in the war leading up to this video. When Brandon asked Doll some of the most disrespectful things that he'd ever done, he said that one thing that came to mind was when he threatened to slap K3's mom.
One of the most disrespectful John though, when I said I was gonna slap K3 mom though.
You were gonna smack his mom?
Yeah, cause she be dissing my homies. I don't know what she be on. She like an old miserable mother.
During the vlog, Doll pulled out guns and told Brandon that they're really in the trenches.
Y'all think it's a game? That's how we coming. We in the trenches, like we in Philly. I'm outside.
Clarify, those are legal firearms. Legally obtained, legally owned firearms.
Illegal firearms. Illegal. Disrespectful.
In the vlog, Doll also claimed that he's respected in the streets and nobody's ever shot at him yet.
Like, the street vouch for me. Anywhere I go, nobody don't play with me. I never got robbed. I never got touched, shot at in the city yet.
In the vlog, Doll also claimed that he'd just stolen a Draco from somebody and gun butted them just yesterday.
We just took a Drake yesterday. We just took a Drake and he got gun butted with it.
You don't feel weird speaking about that publicly?
No, we do this.
Doll would walk Brandon through the hood, notably bragging how that he was outside in these streets and had his feet on land, and even said that he would kill an op on the street right now if he saw one, and even joking that Brandon should help him get the drop on the ops for him.
They said I'm the most hated rapper in the city, right? Like when Quilly said feet on land, like I'm feet on the land, like my feet is on the earth. Who that? They busting the Yui too.
I feel like half your ops aren't outside, they're in a virtual reality.
None of my bro, they would go kill one of them niggas. They know not to do no shit. I wish somebody, I'm sorry, Brandon Buckingham, bro. I wish you would. I wish he would go try to walk around, try to do a vlog with like a Lowski the Reaper or One Mirror, bro. We gonna flame that joint, bro.
You catch me in the crossfire if it comes down to it.
You got to get that drop up. Say nah. You want man, bro. We chilling though, bro. We ain't on that though.
Doll would later say that people in the crew are scared to go to the war zone at night.
How we talk, we've been walking around all day, right? Now once it get time to walk into the war zone, don't want to come no more. You see do now and all that. They don't want to come to the war zone. When it's time to go to my hood, I want to go to the war. I want to come to the war zone. I'm about to go. Look, I'm about to go put my feet on land.
And Doll would walk Brandon through his hood and show how run down the area of 42 and Parkside is.
What's the rundown? Where we at right now?
Right now we on 42nd and Parkside. This my block. This abandoned, bro. This hood abandoned. Not even houses wise. I'm saying like people being out here wise. Like
look at that.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, look at that house right there with the lime green and the brick.
Look, your glass is broken, all that. It's like still liable to stay there.
Yeah, this was our bando.
Yeah, we used to be in here.
This our bando for sure.
We still get in there?
It's still like this. But and this door right here.
It just was open.
Will Smith on these joints right here.
Wait, Will Smith owns them?
Yeah, he's from West Philadelphia. Yeah. Will Smith went to Overbrook High School. He went to my school, West Philadelphia, born and raised. Yeah. Yeah, he not lying, bro. Yeah. He from around here.
During these interviews, cars would be seen driving by, and Doll would say that he thinks people are seeing him and making calls, and it makes him want to start shooting.
Been seeing me, bro. They been rolling their windows up. I don't like when they do shit like that. I feel like they be putting cars in and start shooting people that do that.
So does the prospect of possibly getting shot just walking around make you nervous at all, or I mean, what's your thoughts on it?
I ain't gonna lie, bro. You should be nervous though, bro, because walking with me a bad joint, but so-called on my ass still, so that'd be a bad joint. We just having a cool collected day. We don't feel like shooting people. We don't feel like having shootouts and none of that. We just chilling.
Y'all can do that when I'm back home safe. So you feel like you have a lot of on-site situations in the city?
It is no talking. It's on-site every time.
It's funny. I just jammed this block the other day.
We really killed a lot of though, like not here no more, bro. The hood dry, bro.
Doll would say that he torched the whole hood and that the ops don't even come outside anymore.
Tortured the whole block?
We tortured the whole hood though, like nobody don't come outside around here. We walking through blocks, you don't see nobody. Shit torture. This is a ghost town, desert town, ghost town, bro. Nobody outside. We the hood up.
Later, Doll would explain that they overcook their ops, meaning shooting them more than 3 times, before reiterating that he himself hasn't been cooked yet.
Different than getting overcooked and getting undercooked in the streets.
Do it 3 times, he undercooked. When get hit with 8 or more, he overcooked. It depends where you hit him at. I ain't get hit yet.
When you say hit, do you mean hit by gun bullet?
Yeah, got by gun bullet.
You never been hit?
Yeah, I ain't get hit yet.
And how many times you been doing the him.
We've been doing this shit for a long time now.
Towards the end, Doll would take Brandon to his ops hood, and when he saw a car driving past, he would tell Brandon that he knows who that is and that his friend shot that person.
Right here, bro. On my soul, on J Soul. They from Belmont Ave. They crib right there, bro. That they be getting clapped on that Q Rizzy and all them niggas from right there, bro. The that's in the car over there right now, my man Waters clapped him. He told him he can't bust no traps. Bro, only reason why he parked out here cause Waters not out here right now, bro. Wallahi, bro. He know it, bro. What's up, bro? My man shot him.
So he probably really hates you, yeah?
Bro, it's Mr. Disrespectful. Like, you think game he pulled off, right? Or am I wrong?
No, he did pull off.
Oh, word. We outside, bro.
Unfortunately for Doll and Brandon, within 24 hours of this documentary releasing, Doll would lose his life to the streets too. Things would all come to an end for Mr. Disrespectful on Friday the 23rd of August 2024, when he was shot multiple times in a car-to-car drive-by shooting, which was caught on surveillance camera. Comments on the video would point out that this was likely a targeted hit as the car pulled up and only shot specifically at the backseat window where Doll was sitting. Police say a 25-year-old YBC Doll, real name Abdul Vix, was shot in the chest and hand on the 5500 block of North 6th Street. Ironically, one of his last songs was actually named 5500. Doll was rushed to an area hospital where he was pronounced dead. 6ABC Philadelphia would run a news report that showed close-up recordings of the bullet holes in the car Doll died in at the crime scene, and helicopter footage of the cops continuing to comb the scene would be shown too. And 2 days later, a full report on the murder would be broadcast on the same channel, even playing the full surveillance footage of the drive-by shooting itself.
We are learning new details about the investigation into the murder of a person police say is a well-known gang member. The sound coming from this surveillance video, and it shows the moments someone in a white Hyundai Santa Fe pulled alongside an SUV and opened fire. According to Philadelphia police, the deadly shooting claimed the life of Abdul Vix, also known as Young Dool. Detectives say Vix is a member of the street group YBC, and they say this video is now being investigated in connection to the shooting death. It happened in Philadelphia's Olney section Friday in broad daylight. The vehicle where the shots were fired from was found burned out on a street nearby. The other vehicle where the person died inside of is now being held by police.
And posts would circulate depicting Doll, Lil Jeff, and Scoom, saying that these three demonic drill rappers all lost their lives within months of meeting up. Users of the city's r/Philly subreddit reacted with happiness to the news that the gang leader in their city was no longer in the streets. Another post saw people making a mockery of the situation, sarcastically saying that the world lost a great mind up there with Albert Einstein and George Washington, while others pointed out how it's strange that the three subreddits dedicated to Philadelphia were taking this news completely differently, with commenters under the news posted on r/Philadelphia saying that they were rushing to r/Philly Wiki to get the inside scoop on the background to the latest gang-related murder in their city. Naturally, the people most jubilant over Doll's death would be his rivals in the streets. Some from CCK claimed it was game over for YBC and YFA after Doll's death, but YFA members denied this and claimed that nobody's been hurt in retaliation for Quan or Boog's murders. Apparently, KJ's mother was trolling after Doll's death too, saying shots of 42 all around and asking people why she wouldn't troll Doll.
Shots of 42 do all the way around. Shots of 42 do all the way around. Yes, I'm trolling. For real. Why would I not troll? Why would I not troll?
She'd also made a post which claimed Doll's arm was shot off and that people at the hospital didn't want to help him because he dissed their cousins.
He missing limbs. For real, the people at the hospital was calling and taking pictures. I think when they came in, they looked at him and was like, man, that's my cousin. I ain't helping him. You help him. I ain't helping him. We called the hand. I heard he missing a whole, what he say, slider provide? That providing hand is no longer there. I heard his other pieces missing of his body. He got holes in his body. They blew pieces of him.
However, comments claimed that this couldn't possibly be true. Interestingly, having released their vlog together just the day before Doll's untimely death, Brandon Buckingham would be catching some heat within the hip-hop community, particularly from DJ academics who would diss Brandon and actually praise me, suggesting that Brandon was being irresponsible and voyeuristic, making content with actual gangsters.
You know, usually anytime, bro, I'm just sorry, I'm just not keeping up with these guys who are cosplaying as rappers, but they're really killers these days. So like, I'll go to like a Trap Lord Ross page, and I do think Trap Lord Ross is really just the biggest journalist in terms of, he's the biggest documentarian in the culture right now. And I love what he does. I think he made the media list, which obviously well-deserved, like, good guy. I will say, and I don't know this Brandon Buckingham guy, he might be like the Andrew Callahan guy who's not really into hip hop. He's just kind of oh, I'm just gonna be the white boy voyeuristic type of look. So he's not like Trap Lord Ross. Trap Lord Ross, you could tell, like he's at least caring about the culture somewhat.
Now, I'm friends with both Academics and Brandon, and I feel like Academics maybe was a little hasty to judge Brandon, because at the time he'd probably not seen that much of his stuff. Like, I have seen quite a lot of his stuff and I know him. I feel like what Brandon's really trying to do with this content is give you more of an on-the-ground report of what a day in the life is like for the drill rappers that he's covering, whereas with me, I'm taking a more historical approach, trying to lay out all of the history that I can find on a given topic, and Academics is more of a 24 hours breaking news service at the very cutting edge of the hip-hop music scene. But also, I did feel like Academics didn't necessarily go that hard on Brandon here. It was definitely an underhanded comment based on probably limited knowledge of Brandon's catalog, but it seemed like this comment really offended Brandon, who to be fair was probably still in the grieving process of losing his friend Dull. And as a result, Brandon would snap back at Academics in a savage post that circulated on Reddit, where he dissed Academics, saying that Axe sits on the computer inside all day and is scared to go to the hood like he is. Brandon would then post an update video addressing Academics, denying the accusations of voyeurism, saying that he had become genuine friends with Dull, as well as refuting conspiracy theories that he or his vlog was the reason for Dull's death.
Anyone trying to act like I set him up or I wanted this to happen is like sick in the head, like a sick, twisted person. Why would I want someone that I just did a video with, someone that I was planning to go out to Chicago with, to St. Louis with, why would I want something bad to happen to them? For my own gain, like what, so I can get 1 million views? That is insane. That is not worth it at all. And not only that, the car that he ended up passing in, unfortunately, was not shown in my video, not in a single frame. It's not in a single frame of my video, that white car he passed away in. But he unfortunately had shown it online before, so people may have seen that, but it was not in my video whatsoever. Also, the location he passed away in, Olney, was not a location that we visited at all during our video shoot, right? We went to 42nd, 43rd, went to the Galleria, we went bowling, we did all this stuff, but we did not go to Olney. So people trying to say I gave up his location is insane. Not only that, but the video was filmed on May 13th. It wasn't filmed the same day or the day before. Maybe someone that Brandon's actually friends with, actually has a relationship with, passed away and he's grieving. They just went and blindly started attacking me and going off, saying all these crazy stuff. I'll pop some stuff on screen if you guys want to pause the video and watch some of the stuff that they're saying about me. But it is absolutely crazy, and I'm getting mad people wishing death upon me, wishing death upon my family. But something that really pissed me off is this fat, drunk, woman-beating bum, DJ Academics. So he doesn't even know me. He looks at me for 1 second and says that I'm not for the culture, I'm not a fan of rap music, and says I'm voyeuristic. What has DJ Academics ever done? He's always sitting behind his computer screen. He's really he's a fat, drunk, sitting behind his computer screen, watching my video, reacting to my video, saying that I'm voyeuristic. Right? He's being voyeuristic about me. He's never even done anything. He's literally afraid to go outside. He's never even been outside. And I'm not trying to act tough because I know I'm a super civilian. I'm not about that life. But bro, I'm really risking my life going out here, going into these people's communities and immersing myself in their environment and building real relationships and building real friendships. Never said shit about Dual till he died. He's profiting off Dual's death. He didn't say anything about him until Dual passed away. Meanwhile, I'm hanging out with Dual, doing all this shit, Dual while he's alive. But Academics didn't do shit. But he gets the pass. No one's flaming Academics, even though he never even mentioned Dual until he passed away. Like, bad, if I keep going and doing these videos in the hood, bad shit's gonna keep happening. You wanna know why? Because bad shit happens in the hood all the time. It's like blaming the weatherman for it raining. Like, bro, it's gonna happen whether or not I come there or not.
Brandon would also address OT7 Quanny, who made fun of Dull after he died, saying that he's outside with his feet on land, a reference to what Dull said in Brandon's vlog. Quanny would also say that he's going to do a vlog with Brandon and not die the next day.
We chilling. I'm outside, gang. Feet on land. You feel me? Outside, feet on land. You gonna never touch me or do nothing. You feel me? This how I come in my city.
Like when Quilly said feet on land, like I'm feet on the land, like my feet is on the earth.
I'm gonna bring Brandon to the city though and show y'all how to really do the interview, like, and not die a day after. You feel me? Like, that's how you know all that like was lies, bro. Interview like that and die a day later, you shouldn't believe nothing he was saying, bro. I'm gonna show y'all, I'm gonna bring Brandon to the city and really go through every hood, like every part of every hood. You feel me? And I'm gonna show y'all, like, this how you really do it, like, without dying.
And you have OT7 Quanny saying stuff right now online, bro. To everyone saying I was just trying to make money off Dual and exploit the situation and profit off of suffering and If I was trying to do that, wouldn't I go do a video with OT7 Quanny? I guarantee you Vlad or Academics or Adam22 or any of these people will go capitalize off the situation, go do a video with Quanny. You know it's gonna touch a mill, it's gonna do all this stuff, and I'm not doing that. Ask yourself, why am I not doing that? Why am I not gonna go do a video with OT7 Quanny, right? It's because I really Dual, bro. I did not want any of this to happen. This is all a nightmare situation.
gang.
Academics would actually reply to Brandon in a heated 20-minute stream where he doubled down on his accusations of Brandon being voyeuristic and saying that he was using gang life as entertainment.
Brandon Buckingham, let me address you real clear. I'm gonna tell you why you're voyeuristic about all this. Because everything you showcased, you didn't just showcase, you didn't go into Philly with a camera, no jump cuts, and just walk around. You made it the most entertaining that we could possibly see that would jump off the page. Those moments of, yo, my ops right there, like, that's what you wanted to show. Go do the same at his funeral. If you got all the heart, go do the same at his funeral. Bring the camera, go to his funeral, and crack the same jokes. You were laughing with the, oh, word, what? Like, you were hyping it all up. You won't be at the funeral hyping it. Will you show me the casket? You won't. You know, YBC Dude wanted to do an interview with me. And I said, what are we talking about? I said, we talking about, you know, the meek stuff, maybe people not giving you the chances, whatever. He wanted to diss his ops. I said, whoa, what's going on? Say, yo, I'm the biggest killer in Philly. I said, nah, I'm good. You see, I don't hate on young covering hip hop, but Brandon Buckingham, like, me and you in hip hop can't even talk. Numero uno, you're just a bum. You can't even talk to me, period. You're being voyeuristic when you go through a city, you showcase all the violence in the videos throwing up gang signs. If that's not voyeuristic, what am I? You're in the videos throwing up gang signs. You're not a Crip.
Brandon would later tease a possible diss track on Academics, which later dropped in the form of a song and music video called Internet Clowns. Now, the track had a very Philly-influenced beat and flow, along with a music video filmed in the trenches of DC, making it look like a genuine drill video. But ultimately, this beef would be a kind of light-hearted sideshow for people following the Philly drill scene closely, providing fuel for a lot of conversations around the ethics of journalism when reporting on real crime that relates to music. But back in the city of Philadelphia, there would soon be major developments from law enforcement, as the police would quickly have several serious breaks in the case of YBC Dull's murder. The car used in the murder was found burnt out by police after the crime, and apparently ballistics and other evidence was found in the vehicle. Police would later say they found fingerprints on the doors, and before the car was burned, police tracked it to the alleged killer's home before it was then driven to the location it was set on fire. And police actually claimed to have footage showing the suspect and 2 other men leaving the location the car was burned. But most importantly, they were able to work out that the killer had actually connected his personal phone to the car and made several self-incriminating calls before burning it, including ones to friends in jail to brag about the crimes committed and referring to the murders carried out like basketball, just like the social media and Reddit pages sometimes do too. The killer was eventually identified as a 16-year-old named Aidan Waters. Users of Reddit's Philly wiki would react saying that they couldn't believe that Mr. Disrespectful was taken out by a teenage rookie gang member, with others pointing out that if you actually look into the shooter's background, even at 16, he ain't no rookie. Another video of him doing pull-ups as a tiny child would circulate as well, and even more bizarre news would circulate suggesting that he'd actually been a champion track runner. However, unfortunately, he wouldn't be able to outrun these charges. A Philly Inquirer article broke down the facts, explaining that Aidan Waters was accused of 2 murders and 8 attempts within a 5-day span in August 2024. Days before the murder of Dull, he allegedly shot into another car full of teens, hitting 2 people, including one other 16-year-old who died after being hit by a bullet to the head. And a video would later circulate on Reddit claiming to be made by Aidan after the murder of Dull, posting a picture of somebody waving a gun at the camera and then somebody smoking a blunt, with someone explaining in the comments that the guy with the gun was actually his friend Sir from the Mont, who died in a car accident that, if you remember, Dull had actually disrespected. And the second clip after the one of his friend was the shooter saying he was smoking on Dull, with other affiliates posting the image actually saying that they killed Dull for Sir from the Mont. If you remember, in Dull's September 2023 song, The Wait Is Over, he would rap the dark line, Sir from the Mont died in that V, just like Paul Walker. Ironically, after all the disrespect aimed at people that had been murdered, it would be this throwaway comment about someone who died in an accident that actually drove someone to kill Dull. There's a set called 445, or the Mont, from Belmont Ave, and the Mont are actually in alliance with another crew called Fast Break, who came together against YBC. Following the murder, a post would circulate which people claimed to depict the gang called Fast Break celebrating one of their young shooters' achievements, with a caption once again comparing the gang wars to sports, saying, "This is the top seed in the league. I love my camp over everybody. Big Fast Break." Now, the Fast Break name of the gang is actually itself taken from a type of offensive strategy in basketball. Others apparently posted in Instagram comments days after the murder, saying that Fast Break just scored the biggest bucket of the league. Fox 29 News would report on the arrest as announced by the district attorney against the shooting group known as Fast Break.
In a light rain near a basketball court in Olney, DA Larry Krasner reports he's charged. A 16-year-old with the killing of 2 and the wounding of others is part of a shooting group known as Fast Break.
A small group of young people in the city of Philadelphia made a decision to hold a gun, to point a gun at another human being and pull the trigger.
The alleged teenage shooter is Aiden Waters. The DA says he's the killer of 25-year-old rapper Abdul Vix in a shooting on the 5500 block of North Fair Hills Street in late August. Investigators report they've linked Waters to a wave of shootings in Philadelphia last month, along with the murder counts. He faces attempted murder, aggravated assault, and gun charges.
And the report featured DA Larry Krasner going at Fast Break 2, a clip that was reposted on Reddit and Philly Wiki, with people joking that the Philly DA was the only one sliding for Dull, and that Larry secretly loved Dull for making Philly so interesting while he was alive. Some would point out how it was interesting that someone had made the decision for the DA to hold their press conference on a basketball court, as this is apparently where that group Fast Break is from, as well as a reference to the comparisons between gang violence and the sport of basketball. Now, Larry Krasner apparently likes to troll the gang members, and he's used basketball terminology in another statement put out saying that he was putting a full court press on the gangs in Philly. It's really not looking good for Aiden Waters, and as time went on, more incriminating details would circulate online. Early pictures of Aiden Waters with his gun would circulate on Philly Wiki following the arrest, referring to the red button, a red-colored switch attached to the pistol in the picture that was also recovered by investigators, with commenters saying how screwed he is having public photos with a very specific murder weapon and ballistics that link him to the crime scene. Some of his friends would post saying things like, "Another one lost to the system, but ultimately we will need to wait for a trial to truly determine the facts and consequences of this crime." But considering how much self-incrimination has seemingly gone on, it wouldn't surprise me if Aiden Waters is joining the ranks of Philly's once deadly incarcerated demons, getting hit with a sentence so long that it may well end up looking like a score in a basketball game. In the end, the story of Mr. Disrespectful ended in an unsurprising tragedy. I don't celebrate the deaths of any young men before their time, but when you actually look deeply at YBC Dull's legacy as a rapper and to a lesser extent as a gangster, the result is hardly surprising. Dull had become a celebrity at the expense of a wave of murdered teenagers in Philadelphia, with his YBC gang responsible for much of the violence. And Dull and his friends relentlessly trolling the friends and family of the deceased. It's really no surprise then in the end that he met the same fate as many of the people he made fun of, shot dead in an instant with the trigger pulled by a teenage shooter just as desperate for clout in the streets as Dull was. While I'm not surprised by Dull's demise, what truly did shock me during the course of making this video is just how out of control and senseless violence is in Philadelphia today. Chicago gets a big rep for being one of the most violent cities in America, but the brutality and senselessness of the murders in Philly felt on a whole different level to me. It's a place where bullets truly have no name, and being in the wrong place at the wrong time can be enough for you to get killed in an instant. And even the innocent people killed are still mocked by the gangs, because when admitting to killing an innocent person comes with a mark of embarrassment, perhaps it's easier for the misguided teenage gangsters of Philly to proudly claim the murder of innocent people in cases of mistaken identity, because as they see it, whoever the victim is just another body to add to the score. And the other thing that really shocked me during the course of working on this video is just how desensitized the media surrounding the Philly drill scene is to violence. The Philly Wiki subcommunity is one thing, reporting on the violence or music about the violence as it happens, but on Instagram and other platforms, the scorekeepers of the gang war exhibit some truly ghoulish behavior. Comparing gangster sports teams and shooters to players with their own stat sheets is kinda sickening. And it's important to remember that despite the music and media acting like this is a game, these are all real people with real lives and families who were killed. The families have to live with the pain of losing a loved one for the rest of their lives. And for every disrespectful diss song released, it's like a dagger into the hearts of those mothers and fathers of the young people that were killed. It's chilling, but at the same time, I do believe in the good of people. By mid-2014, after signing a deal with a prominent label and positioning himself as one of the most buzzing gangster rappers in Atlanta, Young Thug had truly made it, transcending the cycle of poverty and violence that him and his peers had suffered growing up on the desolate streets around Cleveland Avenue. But this wasn't enough for Thug, who wanted a bigger slice of the pie in the Atlanta rap scene that was incredibly competitive around this time. And Thug wasn't by any means the only one getting a major bag off the rap game in his city, as numerous affiliated but also competing groups were battling for dominance over the industry. And interestingly, it seemed that a lot of these groups were affiliated with different major nationwide factions of the Blood Gang, such as Money Murder, also known as Two Gun Gang, Blazin' Billy or BBO for Blazin' Billy only, as well as the Inglewood Family Gangster Bloods, also known as IFGB, IF Gang or 9-2 Family, and the 9 Trey Gangster Bloods, also known as Billy Badass or BBA. At one point, these groups were on friendly terms, but over time, it seems that the competitiveness in the scene and possible gang-related rivalries would lead to bitter conflicts that would eventually turn deadly. Young Thug's life at this time was busier than it had ever been. He was touring all over the country, often joined by his rich gang affiliates, Rich Homie Quan and the 5-star stunner himself, Birdman, who is also known to often flaunt his own blood affiliation, sometimes even seemingly indicating to also be part of this Money Murder faction of the gang. However, along with those highly famous blood-affiliated artists, there would also be some high-ranking Blood members who were perhaps unknown to the broader public, but whose names held enormous weight in the streets of Atlanta. In one Rich Gang tour vlog posted on Worldstar Hip Hop around this time, Young Thug would introduce one of these people to the camera, describing him as one of the biggest Bloods in America.
We wouldn't be right here. I got one of the biggest bloods in America with me, man. You did. Atlanta, Georgia. That's what we for. You hear what I'm trying to tell you? Die, we gon' fight. Big shout out to Birdman. I'm seeing him be rich gang, YSL for life. You know what I'm saying?
The man introduced by Thug was none other than Donovan Thomas Jr., better known in the streets as Big Nut. Big Nut was born on April the 4th, 1988, and despite being only 26 years old in 2014, he was a bona fide OG in the streets of Atlanta, even with his nickname Nut, short for Peanut, coming from the fact that he was a small kid who, according to his mother, looked like the cutest peanut.
Would you tell the jury who it is that is depicted on State Exhibit 3, Yankees?
That's my son, Donovan Thomas Jr.
And did you call him Donovan Thomas Jr. or did you have another name for him?
Yeah, we called him Peanut.
Where did that name come from?
Just him growing up, he was smaller than he was, as you know now. And we just thought when he was born, he was just a cute little peanut, and that name just grew with him.
Nut grew up in University Homes public housing project that was located in West Atlanta near downtown before being torn down in 2009, and he attended the nearby Booker T. Washington High School. At some point, Nut would become affiliated with a gang that reps the old 4th Ward neighborhood, often known as simply 4th Ward, this gang sometimes being referred to as the Bird Gang. In fact, if Atlanta law enforcement are to be believed, Nut wasn't just any member, but the second in command in the Bird Gang. This set is, or at least was, also known as the Pink City Bird Gang. The Pink City name, according to some Redditors, allegedly comes from where Nut and his friends used to trap at. However, the name Pink City Bird Gang could also be a play on the classic 2003 song Purple City Bird Gang by Harlem rapper Jim Jones. Now, the Bird Gang is known as the BGCMB, the CMB at the end standing for their late member Lil Chris, real name Christopher M. Bennett, who was killed in 2011. According to some people, Chris was in fact Nut's brother, his death hitting Nut seemingly very hard, and he would even get a large CMB tattoo on his chest, as well as several huge diamond chains made in his honor. As already hinted, Bird Gang is also another blood gang, with their members seemingly primarily identifying as the Inglewood families like the ABG, at least according to Atlanta law enforcement. Nut himself would seemingly often rep the gang on social media, throwing up different hand signs associated with that gang. But Nut wasn't just an alleged high-ranking member, but he was also seemingly a successful businessman in the music industry too, who was very close with industry titans like Birdman, posing with him in photos numerous times. Nut also went seemingly way back with the Baton Rouge rap legend Boosie Badass, as well as apparently being close with the pioneer of the modern Atlanta trap sound, Waka Flocka. And of course, Nut was also very close with YFN Lucci, who allegedly shared the same Inglewood family blood gang ties with him. As Nut himself would state, his name held weight, likely both in the streets and in the Atlanta rap industry, where he was part of different music industry ventures, most notably the record label called Think It's a Game, or TIG, which was founded by Nut's friend Gervan Fly Henry, who was one of the most well-known industry players in the Atlanta rap scene, as well as being known and awarded for his philanthropy, and even getting knighted by the city and having an official day named after him. In fact, it would actually be Nut who would introduce YFN Lucci to Henry and landing him his deal with Think It's a Game Records.
And Nut, man, you know, he introduced me to Fly. He was like, man, Fly, no, like, man, shout it. It's hard. Like, ain't nobody harder than him, man. He, you know, he want to do it. He love doing it, so he gonna do it, and he gonna listen. So, you know, he a good person, you know, to have in your corner. And Fly, you know, Fly, but that was his man, and he believed in him, and we made it happen.
Lucci and Nut had developed a strong relationship, and Nut would continue praising Lucci early in his career, commenting on his posts how Lucci was about to murder the rap game. Nut would even bring Lucci around his mother from time to time, which Nut's mother would actually speak on from the stand at the eventual YSL trial.
Did your son ever bring Lucci to your house?
Yes.
Did you ever see your son interact with Lucci?
Yes.
Was Lucci one of the artists that your son worked with?
Yes.
I stand the objections to form. You can rephrase.
What was the relationship between your son and Lucci?
Just entertainment, music.
By all accounts, Nut was an instrumental player in getting YFN Lucci into the rap game, and Nut's untimely demise, allegedly caused by members of YSL, would lead to an intense and violent war between Thug and his YSL crew and YFN Lucci and his YFN crew and their affiliates like the ABG. However, there's much more puzzle pieces that would allegedly play key roles in Nut's murder, going far beyond the beef between YSL and YFN. So if you want to know more about that years-long back and forth between those two factions, you can go and watch my deep dive documentary I already did about that whole beef, because with regards to the YSL RICO case, it would actually actually be another artist whose connections to both Thug and Nut would allegedly be crucial in Nut losing his life, and that person was Rich Homie Quan. Rich Homie Quan, real name DeQuantes Devontae Lamar, was born on October 4th, 1989, and from a young age, he would show an interest in becoming a musician, even getting a tattoo of a microphone on his body at age 16, stamping the rap game on his skin and setting his intention on making his way in music by any means necessary.
I go to jail, I got a microphone telling me in high school, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't rapping, I was shy though, you know what I'm saying? So I'm in jail, so dude was like, oh, you got that microphone, you don't rap, you don't know be rapping, everybody rapping it, you know what I'm saying? I was like, nah, man. So a dude coming in there and told me, I remember like it was yesterday. It was in May, I had been locked up 4 months by then. So he rapping, he got the whole dorm on lock, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, he ain't doing nothing, I can't do it. So he being with the hands on the table, but it sounded so, and I was like, man, that's when I really just got the herb, man. I'm finna get back on the music, man.
However, before embarking on his musical journey, Quan would initially pursue a career in professional baseball as a way for him to get out of the streets, even receiving a college scholarship based on his talent in the sport. But due to baseball being a majority white sport, apparently Quan knew that it likely wasn't going to work out for him unless he had exceptional talent.
Did you graduate from high school with something like a 3.2 GPA?
Yeah, I graduated from high school with a 3.2 GPA. Yes, sir. Graduated, I had a scholarship to go to Fort Valley University to play baseball, but I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't get a scholarship for academics. My scholarship was for baseball, but with my academics being that, I didn't have to pay for school at all, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but my mind was on rapping though. Like baseball, cool, but in the back of my mind, I really want to rap. Cause as I'm getting older, I'm noticing like, my favorite players growing up, Sammy Sosa, Andrew Jones, but yeah, they black, but yeah, I hear Andrew Jones talk, bada. Like, what the hell, Andrew Jones, I thought you was black. So as I started getting old, I started realizing like, the percentage of black men in the MLB is very small. So then I'm like, I'm good, but I ain't that good.
He would eventually end up following the college path for a couple of weeks before dropping out due to having to commute a whopping 4 hours to school every day. Quan would then turn to a life of crime in order to make ends meet, and he and some friends would begin breaking into houses when Quan was about 19, stealing televisions and other electronics, while also seemingly dabbling with music, like making a song called Stay Down in 2008 with a rap group called the Stack Money Boys, which had all the essentials of the Atlanta sound at the time, being a highly upbeat party anthem in the style of Roscoe Dash, Travis Porter, and other Atlanta legends from that time period. However, Quan's brief stint in the life of crime came to an abrupt halt after a few months when his crew was caught and Quan was sent to prison, as he would later explain in a Vlad TV interview.
Man, I get over there, they kicking dough. I'm like, bro, what we doing? So, the first time, I didn't even break in the house. But we got caught. Make a long story short, we got caught. I go to jail, first offender, I get out the next day. But from that experience, I learned like, damn, I could do this. They dumb. They did it wrong. You know what I'm saying? So listen, 2 months after that, I get locked up. And that's when I go to jail for the 15 months. You know what I'm saying? That's when I go to jail for the 15 months. So I had me a little 2-month run doing it my way. And my way, I still got locked up. You know what I'm saying? But I was smart though. I was getting money though. I was getting money.
Several months into his sentence, Quan began to rethink his life and turned his focus back to music. Influenced by a fellow inmate who dominated the dorm with his rapping skills, Quan then began to write songs daily and perform them for some commissary.
Nah, when I first got in jail, I didn't even rap my first 6 months in there. Nobody even knew I rap. Like I got tattoos or the microphone. They asked me like, Quan, Queasy, cause they call me Queasy Rich in jail. They're like, Queasy, why you got that microphone? You know, I make beats, I'm lying, I'm so shy. I'm shy. So I started rapping like 6 months in. So this how I gained my confidence. I started rapping 6 months in. It was this dude I was locked up with, his name was Tomahawk. I don't know, like Tomahawk. So he came in and came out like a speeding ticket or something. But when he came in, he was beating on the desk, rapping, and he got the whole dorm going crazy. But me and the competitiveness in me, I'm like, that's hard, but I'm harder than that. I know this. I've been upstairs rinsing my room harder than that. So boom, the next morning he come out beating on the table. Nobody know I rap. I freestyle. They were like, Queasy Rich, we ain't even know you rap. So when I started saying that right there, when I saw that 6 months in, that's when I said, them burglars, I'm finna focus strictly on rap.
Following his release from prison in February 2011, Quan was determined to turn his newfound passion for music into a full career, and soon he would join an Atlanta rap crew called Loyalty Over Royalties and begun putting out music again. Being part of the crew granted him access to studio sessions and an ability to print mixtapes at a good rate, which was through his friend CEO Teezy. But tragically, Teezy was killed later that year, which would end up discouraging Quan and delaying his plans with music.
I don't want to share a room with my brother, so now I take Drake, I'ma just stay in the garage. Like, we got a two-side garage down. So I told my mama, just get me a mattress in the garage, give me a couple of fans. When they, you know what I mean? I'ma set the computer up right here. I still got my equipment. You know what I'm saying? I set my stuff up out there. I'm rapping out there, and I meet this dude named Teezy. I meet this dude named Teezy through my brother Dre's friend, Vontae, cause Vontae, I always knew I could rap. He was like, bro, you so hard, bro. You too hard, bro. You not, bro, you don't got nothing else to do. You gotta go meet this. And he was like, he knew me, he was like, bro, I ain't going. He came over there and got me, he was like, bro, you going. He took me over there to meet him, I rap for him. Teezy fell in love with me, bro. So, like I'm telling you, I'm staying in the basement. From the first day I met Teezy, I ain't sleep in that basement for 3 months. I ain't 3 months, 6 months. Forever how long I knew Teezy, because Teezy ended up getting killed. You see what I'm saying? So when Teezy get killed, man, R.I.P. Teezy, and that messed me up. When Teezy get killed, I'm like, man, I don't even want to rap no more, man. The only person who believed in me, he gone now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm the baby.
At this time, Quan was struggling financially, living in the basement of his mother's house, but still keeping himself occupied and recording every day on his mattress. And by April 2012, Quan would be gaining traction with the mixtape I Go In On Every Song, which would eventually end up gaining the attention of Gervin Fly Henry, the head of Think It's a Game Records, who would hear Quan's mixtape in his Fly Kicks shoe store, leading Fly to then end up signing Quan for $19,000, which Quan would receive in $400 installments every week. Quan would then start dropping mixtapes under the label, starting with the tape Still Going In, released in September 2012. This tape would include the single Differences, which now has over 20 million views on YouTube. According to Quan, at this point he was already getting thousands for his shows, but things would really change for him after he would drop Still Going In Reloaded in February 2013, which would include the song Some Type of Way or simply Type of Way. This would be Quan's first mega hit, peaking at number 50 on the Billboard Hot 100 and at number 8 on the Hot Rap Songs chart, becoming a fan favorite. The music video for the song, released in July 2013, now stands at over 300 million views on YouTube, while the song has over 100 million plays on Spotify. But the track resonated beyond the charts, becoming an anthem for the 2013 Michigan State Spartans, a football team that was on fire that year, with the team actually being invited to the 100th annual Rose Bowl, one of the biggest events in college football, and rich homie Quan would even join them for the celebration. And this was nearly a year before Young Thug would start getting his own Billboard hits, which is often forgotten when discussing the Rich Gang era and the influence that both Quan and Thug had in the group's success. As early as February the 12th, 2013, Thug was well aware of Quan's meteoric rise in the Atlanta rap scene, and he would take to Twitter to hype and tease an upcoming collaboration between Chicago-born and Atlanta-raised Lil Silk and rich homie Quan, as well as posting cover art for the song a few days before its release. Thug seemed to be a genuine fan of Quan's music and would respond to a fan that suggested a link up between him and Quan would be hard with the hashtag facts. But it also made sense for Thug career-wise to align himself with the hottest new prospect in his city, as Thug was still more of an up-and-coming rapper at this point, while Quan's career was going from strength to strength more rapidly. And at the end of 2013, Rolling Stone would even name Quan's Still Going In Reloaded as the 10th best mixtape of the year, and in May 2013, fans of the two rappers would be blessed with their first collaboration, when both featured on Gucci Mane's Trap House 3 album on a song titled Chasing Paper. Gucci being one of the biggest artists to come out of Atlanta trap in history, this was a major look for both artists. Although Gucci at the time was fighting his own demons with drug addiction and mental health issues, eventually landing himself in trouble with the law. But from here, after that Gucci co-sign, going into the summer of 2012, Quan would continue having breakthrough success at national and even international level. In September, he would be featured on the iconic hook of the hit single My N-Word by the California rapper YG alongside Atlanta trap legend Young Jeezy, with the song peaking at number 19 on the Hot 100, and the music video now having over 350 million views on YouTube. The song truly opened doors for Quan to become a global star, charting in 7 countries around the world, even going platinum all the way in Sweden. In November, Thug would post a tweet telling the world that they weren't even ready for the collab that he was about to release with Quan, and later that month, Quan would release another mixtape titled I Promise I Will Never Stop Going In, which would include the song Get the F Out My Face, featuring none other than Young Thug himself. The song wasn't quite the mega hit that Thug was was making it out to be, although he would make it part of his live performances, clearly seeing the potential in the duo's collaboration. Thug would also post a vlog on his YouTube channel in November showing him and Quan working on a song together that would eventually be released with the title Time. By the end of 2013, Thug's career too had begun taking off in a major way as well, and Thug's rise would lead to endless speculation about the multi-million-dollar record deals he was courting, and together with Quan, they had truly become the most valuable rookie rappers in all of Atlanta. Meanwhile, Quan's Think It's a Game label, aka TIG, where Big Nut was involved, was doing all-round great business as an indie record label. Their roster at the time, also including artists like Trinidad James, whose 2012 hit song All Gold Everything had literally gone gold in 2013, and the R&B singer Jaquise, whose EP 19 was charting at the top of the R&B and hip-hop album charts. In March 2014, Quan and Thug would announce their plans to drop a joint EP, and the following month, Quan would give an interview while having a show in Houston where he would describe him and Thug as the best duo out of Atlanta since Outkast.
You got this, this tape with Young Thug coming out. How'd that relationship grow, man? How'd y'all link up?
Man, Young Thug is my brother. You know what I'm saying? He's from Atlanta, I'm from Atlanta. He's from Cleveland. I'm from East Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? First time we got in the studio, it was really Murder All She Wrote. You know what I mean? He don't write, I don't write. You know what I mean? He just FaceTimed me, to be honest, before I came in here. Told me turn up, breaking up. Me and Thug gonna do an EP.
Okay, most definitely. You got any plans on when that's gonna drop?
Before the year out.
Before the year out. Yeah. Now, as far as the album name, you releasing that yet?
Nah, but I can tell you this. The EP me and Thug dropped. It's hard to do us and Outkast. Hard to do us and Outkast.
Also in April, Thug and Quan would once again feature in a song together when the Migos would drop their Streets on Lock 3 mixtape, where the dynamic duo would go in together on the song Too Deep. Unfortunately though, the following month in May, Quan would faint and suffer a head injury while shooting a music video for his song Walkthrough, leading to rumors of drug abuse, which Quan would vehemently deny at the time.
You scared a lot of us recently, I mean not recently, but a few months ago when you had some seizures.
See, like, hold on. Let's clear it up, Black. I never had a seizure, Vlad. TMZ lied. TMZ. Listen, bro. TMZ. I never had a seizure. I fainted, bro. From dehydration, bro. And like a fool, bro. You feel me? I bust my face. I got stitched out of your 9 stitches in my eye, bro. You feel me? I never bust my, I bust my eye, not my head. I said in the song, TMZ lied. Like, that would not be on my album. It's just a TMZ song, but TMZ owns TMZ, everything about TMZ.
However, years later, he would indeed admit that he had actually been struggling with addiction at this pivotal point in his career.
Like on Miley, like them Rich Gang days, like I was on Miley probably like 2 years straight, like every day. Like say I was taking Miley before I go brush my teeth.
Jeez.
You feel me?
And so that's no way to live.
No way to live, bro. But then that's when I started feeling like my music was like falling out. I was caught up, like I was lost in the South.
But despite health scares, his momentum remained strong, as he would feature on the Under the Influence of Music tour with rap-heavy hitters like Wiz Khalifa, Young Jeezy, and Ty Dolla $ign. Meanwhile, Nut would post several pictures of himself and Birdman together on Instagram, along with captions saying that he was with his fellow Blood Gang homie and that people should stay tuned, together with hashtags repping his TIG label, perhaps inferring that he was indeed doing some business in the music industry with the #1 stunner Birdman. Around the same time, Nut would also post a picture of him and Young Thug performing a signature blood handshake at Birdman's condo, showing that these two were also very close. Then, at the end of June, the bomb would drop, as Thug and Quan together, under Birdman's Rich Gang Collective, would drop one of the most iconic trap songs of the 2010s. I'm of course talking about the song Lifestyle. Originally, Birdman's Rich Gang Collective was mainly comprised of rappers who were already signed to his Cash Money Records, and their projects would do relatively poorly despite the very big names being involved in them. But with the Lifestyle song becoming an undeniable hit, peaking at 16 on the Billboard 100 and going certified platinum before the end of the year, even being named as Complex's second best song of the year, today the music video for Lifestyle sits at a mind-boggling almost 700 million views. This was an enormous hit, instantly making Rich Gang synonymous with both Young Thug and Rich Homie Quan. Quan would later reveal that he had actually first met Birdman when he came to his show in Miami, with Birdman then inviting Quan to a studio to play him Lifestyle. Quan actually initially thought that it was Lil Wayne rapping on the track instead of Young Thug, while Birdman would let Quan know that he'd actually been saving the track for him to lay another verse on.
First day I met Baby, came to one of my shows in Miami. He was like, nephew, pull up on me at the studio. I got one I want you to hear. Rightfully so, I pull up to the studio. He hit Spacebar. The rest is history, bro. That song he played, Lifestyle, when I first heard it, I was like, man, who that, Wayne? When I first heard Lifestyle, I thought it was Wayne on it. He's like, nah, that Thug. I was like, well, what the Thug? I didn't die. I've been had it for. I've been saving it for you, nephew. I swear to God. I swear to God. The first time I met Birdman, went straight to the studio, we did Lifestyle. I promise to God. And we were shooting the video 2 days later.
Nut and Fly, the founder of Think It's a Game Records, would also be both present at the video shoot for Lifestyle, with Big Nut himself even making a very short cameo in that video, and he would also promote the song on his own Instagram, repping both Rich Gang and his actual gang set, the Bird Gang, as well as of course the Bloods in the caption. But interestingly, around this same time, the Bird Gang would also begin rocking custom clothing with a logo for their set that was basically a modified version of the Rich Gang logo. But the same day the Lifestyle music video was released, Nut would post a picture on his Instagram hanging out at Birdman's condo, showing that the two were seemingly very much locked in on the Rich Gang project despite Nut's crew kinda copying their source. But it seemed like things were good between Nut and Birdman, with Nut even seemingly traveling around in Birdman's private jet during this time. In July, Nut would post a photo with Quan saying how much love he had for him while shouting out his Inglewood family gang, accompanied by both Nut and Quan throwing up hand signs associated with that gang. But Quan wasn't the only artist getting love from Think It's a Game Records, because while Rich Gang was becoming one of the biggest things in rap, Nut was already eyeing the label's next talent, this of course being none other than YFN Lucci, whom Nut would shout out on his Instagram, calling him the next big artist coming out of Atlanta, as well as posting a video of a Think It's a Game photo shoot attended by himself, Rich Homie Quan, Lucci, and the label founder Fly, while Lucci would use Twitter to reveal that he and Rich Homie Quan had been recording music together. And in the months that followed, it seemed that things were still cool between Big Nut and Birdman. In August, Nut would promote Birdman's flashy lifestyle vlog episode, tagging both Thug and Birdman in the post, as well as promoting Thug's birthday bash that was to be held at an Atlanta nightclub. And the business meetings with Birdman also seemingly continued, as Nut may well have been acting as both the representative of Rich Homie Quan and Think It's a Game's interests within the Rich Gang collaboration. In September, on the other hand, Nut would proudly promote the Think It's a Game artist during the BET Award weekend, with both Lucci and Quan included in the roster. Later that month, Birdman would officially release the new Rich Gang mixtape titled Rich Gang The Tour Part 1, with the cover art showing a face that was half Young Thug and half Rich Homie Quan. At this point, things appeared to be business as usual, at least on the surface, as Nut was seemingly still cool with Birdman, posting a photo of the two together with both holding Rich Gang themed double cups. But on the streets of Atlanta, things were getting hectic, and the very same day that the Rich Gang tape was released, Rich Homie Quan's father, Corey Lamar, would be at a barbershop where he worked, when a group of men would enter the shop with an apparent mission of robbing the place. Things would quickly escalate into a shootout, during which Quan's father would get shot, ending up in the hospital in critical condition, but fortunately surviving the incident. Think It's a Game label founder Fly would send a statement to XXL the day after the shooting, saying that as far as he knew, the shooting was not gang related, but other sources were providing a different narrative, with one local reporter indicating that the shooting may have been related to a feud between Quan and another rapper. And although the article itself would hardly expand on this theory, the writer may have been referring to lyrics from Quan that some had taken as a diss towards Future, as local TV news would also seemingly indicate this same story, even using a clip from an interview where Quan had addressed this beef.
News Since 4, we're hearing from a man who says he chased the gunman who shot a popular Atlanta rapper's father. Channel 2's Tom Jones now live in Northwest Atlanta, where police say, Tom, that the gunman got away in a black Honda Accord.
Justin, that's right. That's also the description of the car that witness told me. He chased down this road after he heard gunshots coming from Lamar's barbershop. The victim survived the shooting, a shooting many in this community think is connected to the victim's son, Atlanta rapper Rich Homie Quan.
Rich Homie Quan is here.
Atlanta rapper Rich Homie Quan, whose real name is DeQuantis Lamar, is one of the hottest artists around.
I'm a smooth operator.
He's also known for his close relationship with his father, Corey Lamar.
Where your pops at, man?
Yeah, the crib, man, here in Atlanta, man. Cool, man.
Some here at Lamar's barbershop are wondering if an alleged feud between Quan and other rappers led to Corey Lamar being shot 4 times inside his barbershop. Atlanta police say the gunman came in the shop and opened fire.
So I heard about 3 gunshots, and so I saw the guy come out.
Van White says he heard the gunshots, saw the gunman, and chased him, but he got away.
He got in a black car, and that's all I know from there.
One barber told me he went to the back, and another barber said he left the shop. They say that's when the gunman came in. Workers here told me someone shot up the shop about a month ago. I talked to several people who believe the shooting is a result of Quan feuding or disrespecting other rappers and songs. Police wouldn't comment on that and say their investigation continues. But in at least one interview, Rich Homie Quan repeatedly said he isn't feuding with one rapper in question.
I never dissed him. Yeah. I never disrespected him as a man.
However, during the YSL trial, in a shock turn of events, it would actually turn out to be none other than close affiliate of Young Thug, YSL Woody, who would admit to doing this shooting along with other culprits, saying that he had done it due to his friend called Threat, real name Trevante Turner, having problems with Rich Homie Quan.
What happened in Nut got nothing to do with YSL. This screaming language. This got everything to do with Threat. You know what I mean? I was trying to protect Threat from the get-go. I mean, threat, and they had some more stuff going on. Like,
was Threat at the gambling house when it got shot up by Kel?
You say nothing I say can be used against me?
That's right.
Me and Threat shot up Rich Homie Quan Dad at the Barbershop on Bankhead. I don't know what happened with Threat and Rich Homie Quan, but I'ma ride with my brother. And they was beefing. And yeah, we pulled up and did that.
Okay. And as a result of, why did you and Threat shoot up Rich Homie Quan Daddy's Barbershop?
Because I'ma ride with Threat.
Okay. Did Threat tell you why he was shooting?
I don't ask no questions. I just say let go.
Threat would end up being killed in June 2024, taking his version of the events that day to the grave with him. But regardless of what was going on in the streets, on the music side, everything continued as if nothing was happening. And in October, Rich Gang would drop another hit, the song Tell 'Em, together with a music video showing Quan, Thug, and Birdman living the lavish tour life, accompanied by fancy cars, tons of liquor, and scantily clad women, with the music video now standing at over 55 million views. Also in October, Nut was riding on a high of his own, announcing the birth of his daughter Kaylin on Instagram, and his relationship with Birdman and the whole Rich crew at least seemed better than ever, with a new vlog from the group dropping in November, where we would see that already mentioned clip of Thug introducing Nut to the camera as one of the biggest bloods in America.
I got one of the biggest bloods in America with me, my you did, Atlanta, Georgia. You get what I'm trying to tell you? That we going.
This was followed later in November by another Rich Gang song and music video titled Freestyle, where Nut can even be seen making a cameo greeting Quan with a gang handshake at the beginning of the video before he begins his verse. The following month in December, Nut would make a cryptic post seemingly announcing the start of a new business venture called Big Business Entertainment, which he would accompany with a caption saying how he was done with the small talk, from now on everything was going to be big, together with hashtags repping both the Think It's a Game label and Rich Gang. On a separate note, Lucci's career was also thriving at this time, as he would release his first mixtape under the Think It's a Game label in mid-December titled Wish Me Well, a project which would also include a feature from his label mate Rich Homie Quan on the song Exactly How It Was, which would eventually also get a music video about a year later, but unfortunately within a month of this collaboration, they would end up losing the very person who had played a pivotal role in launching both of their careers, as in early January, Nut would post another picture of him and Birdman chilling at Birdman's condo, although based on the caption, it seemed that this was an old picture taken in the summertime, not January. Interestingly, according to the YSL indictment, the very next day, Thug and D would post a photo together with the caption, "We ain't going back and forth," which the prosecution would consider to be an overt act in furtherance of the gang conspiracy when it came to the trial. This seemingly indicated that the authorities thought that this post was addressing Nut in particular, and a few days later, Thug would allegedly rent an Infiniti Q50 sedan from Hertz, handing it over to his YSL goons, and only 3 days after that, on January the 10th, 2015, whatever had been taking place behind the scenes was about to come to a tragic conclusion. It was approximately 8:45 p.m. when Nut was in front of the Hair Unlimited Barbershop on McDaniel Street in the Castleberry neighborhood. He was conversing with a group of people when the Infiniti Q50 that Thug had rented would allegedly drive past them, which according to prosecutors had 5 men inside: Javaris Bradford aka Tudor, Justin Cobb aka Doo-Wop, Diamante Kendrick aka Yak Gotti, Demise McMullen aka Nard, and Shannon Stillwell aka SB, with someone inside the car opening fire and hitting 3 people, 1 juvenile and 2 adults, one of these being Big Nut himself, with security cameras even capturing the events from both outside and inside the barbershop, showing adults and kids ducking and running for cover as the chaos unfolded. Nut would receive several shots to his upper body and would be rushed to the Grady Memorial Hospital, where he would sadly pass away at just 26 years old.
Triple shooting, and one of the victims is a teenager. The shooting happened outside a barber shop, and tonight one victim is clinging to life. Channel 2's Jessica Jaglois is live at the scene, where there's still a very heavy police presence. Jessica.
As you can see behind me, there is still quite the active scene here in Southwest Atlanta. McDaniel Street is still closed, and it has been for more than 3 hours. That's because there are shell casings up and down the street. Now, I'm told one of the men who was shot, a man in his mid-20s, is in critical condition, but that his status could change for the worse overnight.
It appears that they were the intended target, but again, I'm not sure the reason of the shooting.
Atlanta police are investigating why 2 men in their mid-20s and a 14-year-old boy were shot outside of a barber shop in Southwest Atlanta Saturday night.
Right now, it doesn't appear that they had anything connection to the business. They were just kind of hanging out, is what we appear.
Investigators say it appears to have been a drive-by shooting, and according to several witnesses we spoke with, an automatic weapon was used.
The search is on for the person who shot 3 people, including a 14-year-old. 1 man died. Channel 2 Steve Gelbach is live at Grady Memorial Hospital. Steve, investigators say they don't have a motive, but they don't believe this shooting was random.
I did hear back from Atlanta police in the last half hour by email. Said there's really not an update on this case yet, but they do confirm it is a homicide investigation. All 3 victims, including a 14-year-old, were brought here to Grady Memorial Hospital, and 26-year-old Donovan Thomas was in the most serious condition, and the medical examiner's office confirmed he did not survive.
Later during the YSL trial, the prosecutors would show numerous crime scene photos showing the aftermath, with Nut's Chevy Tahoe riddled with bullets and numerous shell casing markers scattered across the crime scene.
I'll also show you what's been admitted as Exhibit 12Y, 27Y, 26Y, 218Y, 174Y, 193Y, and 221Y.
Following Nut's death, the whole city of Atlanta would seemingly pay tribute to him, with billboards in his memory appearing everywhere, including at Club Crucial, where YSL Woody had apparently gotten into an altercation with Nut's brother only days before his death. Meanwhile, Nut's family would take over his Instagram, using it to honor his memory, and artists close to Nut would also pay their respects, like YFN Lucci, who would post a video to Facebook mourning the loss of his good friend.
Yeah, man, shit working, man. Yeah, just hot out of this big right here, though. Got my mans working. We working, man. Big Bentley shit. YFNBC, long live Nut forever.
Lucci would later even memorialize Nut by naming his 2017 mixtape Long Live Nut, as well as speaking in interviews about how Nut had been the one who put him on in the rap game.
Well, yeah, I said a lot of stuff different from back then, because, you know, I lost one of my homies who really got me on. You know, long live Nut forever. Yeah, Nut got me on, so.
Birdman 2 would pay homage to Nut after his passing, posting a picture of the two on Instagram with a caption calling Nut a solid guy who would never be forgotten. According to the DA Fannie Willis, the murder of Nut would begin a years-long bloody back and forth between YSL and YFN, which may have led to as many as 50 shootings, and, according to the former Fulton County DA Paul Howard, already in 2017 had led to 4 retaliatory murders. But in the immediate aftermath of the murder, it wouldn't ultimately take long for the authorities to get an idea of just who might have been behind the hit, as already the following day, none other than YSL Woody would find himself in police custody, as the police had allegedly been hearing rumors that he was actually behind the murder, so they wanted to interview him straight away, as he would later recall in the YSL trial.
Now, Mr. Copeland, I want to direct your attention to Saturday, January 10th, 2015, the night that Donovan Thomas was killed. I want you to go back to that day before Donovan Thomas got killed. I want you to tell the jurors what you remember.
I remember getting a call saying that I killed Nut.
You killed Nut.
The word was, I got a call and people were saying that, am I okay? They saying I killed Nut. He asked me what I got going on, or if I heard what happened, or I don't know what he said. I just know he said that, you know what I mean, people saying that I killed Nut, and he would call it.
Now let me ask you this, did you kill Nut?
No.
Did you ever see the police about Nut being killed?
Yeah, the police called.
During the interview, Woody discussed an ongoing conflict that he and Thug had with a man named Shell Kell, or Kel, real name Kelvin Watts, who was the brother of Big Nut, sort of, as the father of Shell Kell's brother from his mother's side, called Greedy, is also the father of Nut, and they all seemingly grew up together.
What made you want to pull you into this situation that happened? Okay. Me and Kel, you know what I'm saying? Me and him, we had a problem in the club. Is that him? No, this Nut. Okay. Kel, they say this the little brother, but I thought he was just changing it, but they say they real brothers. Kel, K-E-L, K-E-L, Kel, okay. Okay, go ahead, little brother of Nut, yes. Who you identified from a picture, which is Donovan Thomas. Yes, okay, go ahead. Me and him got into it in the club push. What day was that? It's just like it's a lot. Okay. So, 2 months, 3 months, a year, how long? Yeah, about I'm saying no longer than 4 months. 4 months. So every time y'all be at Club Crucial, y'all see each other, y'all get into it. We don't even fight, we don't do none of that. The only time I fight was the last time. Okay, so what was that? Monday, we just played. Monday.
In an attempt to end the beef, Woody would approach Kel at Club Crucial in Atlanta, with the two exchanging words before Kel would then approach Thug and also speak to him.
All the time we get into that club, you know what I mean? Yes, they shoot birds that we shoot back at them. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, we go outside. Don't go on that, don't nobody fight, don't nobody that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just go outside. We leave. This every time we got to the club. But last Monday, we in the club. But this catch case came in, it was Monday. I think it was Sunday before the Monday. But it's Sunday, it was the Sunday before that week. Me and Kel, I seen Kel outside. So I'm like, hey Kel, how did you? So as me and Kel standing right there, we talking. We talking about everything we got against each other. So as we talk, we like, it's over with. They challenging the cover. So we like, it's over with, we ain't beefing no more. So Kel like, right, but he want to talk to Thug and see what Thug has to do with it. So like, man, Thug ain't standing jump up, you know what I'm saying? He ain't into this. So he like, all right, you want to talk? So him and Thug talk. Whatever said there, I don't know.
The following night, Woody said that he returned to the club and begun flexing money, but that's when Kel and a group of his guys would approach and begin assaulting him, attempting to rob him for his cash.
Monday come, I'm in Kush. As I go to Kush, I pull out my money. I'm gonna stay, I'm flashing my money to all the girls standing around. I'm flashing money. So I get on the stage, I'm flashing money. Kel and his whole walk up on me. So I look at him, he's like, what's up, bro? I'm like, what's going on, y'all? And he ain't saying that, so he just looked at me, so I'm still flashing money. I'm laughing, I'm playing with everybody. So he's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, what's up, bro? He's like, Thug still want to pay for the window. Like, I guess so, bro. But he in the club, like, go talk to him. You know what I'm saying? So Kel, like, he took his necklace, he put his necklace inside. So I look at it, I put money in my pocket. So when I put money in my pocket, I walked out. You know what I mean? I walk over here. I look at him. So he turned around, he tells somebody something in the ear. So I walked towards the kitchen. When I walked towards the kitchen, all of them walked behind me. I was by myself. So when I get to the kitchen, I see everybody walk behind me. I try to turn around and go back to the stage. Kel punched me in the back of the head. So he punched me in the back of the head. They pushed me to the ground, He tried to go in my pocket and get my money. But as I hold on to my money, the other guy punched me all in the face. But I didn't care, I was holding on to the money. So as they punch me, I get out of it, I run.
He would then go on to explain how the opposing blood set, this perhaps referring to the Bird Gang or the Inglewood family in general, would have a meeting about him and Thug the day before Nut's death, where plans were apparently drawn up for Woody and Thug to be murdered.
Friday, they had a meeting. The meeting, like it was a blood meeting, and the meeting was about me and Thug. You and Thug, me and young Thug. But the whole time, I'm telling him like, what Thug got to do with this, bro? Young Thug was just talking. Young Thug, the rapper. I'm like, what he got to do with this? You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking to him. Like, he with you. I'm like, bro, it ain't no beef, bro. Like, I ain't saying y'all niggas down there. You know, don't pay me no attention. I'll pay y'all no attention. No, I listen, man. But there was a guy that was at me. Said, the guy down the road, Mo, he's supposed to say, kill me and young Thug. So I asked, I got 10 minutes on my phone. I text my phone like, hey, bro, y'all gonna kill me and Thug? I said, let's say, like, ha, ha, ha. And he like, bro, what you talking about? Like, ain't that like they said? So another guy talking, he like, ain't that like they said? I'm like, okay, they just lying. He like, yeah. So next thing you know,
Woody would then explain how his rivals would start shooting at the gambling house that he would regularly attend.
it's a gambling house. I used to be it. And we just gambling now. It's over there in Lakewood. They go and stand on top of the roof and shoot inside. So they stand on the roof shooting inside the building. And then they leave. So they tell everybody to tell her what.
With these back and forths then allegedly escalating to the eventual full-blown murder of Big Nut before he had a chance to take out Thug and Woody. But Woody himself would claim that he had been at his girlfriend's house when this incident occurred, an alibi that would suggest that he at least didn't pull the trigger. But Woody would state openly during the YSL trial that when he woke up the morning after Nut's death, people were already accusing him of the murder.
I got in town to Rick. I had called D. Like, where you at, bro? Like, you on Cleveland. I'm around to pull up. So I ride on Cleveland. When I get right up by McDonald's on Cleveland, let people like, but they say Nut just got killed, bro. I'm for real, bro. But I really just think you just talk. Like, for real, bro? Like, yeah, so I'm like, dang. So I like, what happened? He like, boy, he did kind of say it. So I'm like, damn, bro, he gonna say I did this first time. I'm like, damn, he gonna say I did, bro. He like, before no, you ain't do it. So I'm like, he like, he don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right. So as I leave there, multiple comments like, oh, you know, they talked to my me and him, shot Nut, multiple. They like, they said me and him did. You got no for multiple? Yeah, M-O-O-N-K.
During the YSL trial, however, Woody would pretty much categorically deny anything that he had told the police during previous interrogations being true. Therefore, it's hard to know what to believe when it comes to his stories, and YSL Woody is not a very reliable narrator in any kind of scenario. But law enforcement, on the other hand, would lay out their theory of what had happened in a 2016 affidavit for a search warrant regarding items that they had discovered during a 2015 arrest of Young Thug in relation to the investigation into the murder of Big Nut. According to the police, they had first learned about an ongoing dispute between Thug's YSL and Big Nut's Inglewood family gang in November 2014. They would also claim that Shannon Jackson, aka Shannon Stillwell, aka SB, was the one to have pulled the trigger in the murder of Big Nut, aka Donovan Thomas, and that it was the January 5th altercation at Club Crucial between Shell Kell and Lil Woody which would be the ultimate catalyst for the murder of Nut, which was followed by dozens of retaliatory shootings between YSL and the Inglewood family's gangs. This even included a shooting of Lil Woody's girlfriend's parents' house immediately on the same night of Big Nut's murder. For whatever it's worth, Woody would also allege to the police that Demekion Garlington, aka D, had told him right after the murder that Jackson, aka SB, Kendrick, aka Yak Gotti, McMullen, aka Nard, and Cobb, aka Doo-Wop, had indeed killed Nut. And, most incriminating for Young Thug himself, Woody would also say that D had told him that it was Thug who personally handed them the car after they spotted Nut in front of the barbershop. The police also claimed that McMullen, aka Nard, called Thug's number only minutes after they had allegedly killed Nut. Moreover, already in 2016, the police were also aware of the possibility that the murder was linked to a beef between Nut and Young Thug all over rich homie Quan's career, and that Nut had become increasingly concerned over his safety in the lead up to his murder, believing that Thug and his associates could be willing to hurt him over this beef, with the wildest claim in the affidavit being that Nut's last word had actually been, "Thug had me killed," which he allegedly said to his brother right before passing away. However, during the YSL trial, the prosecution would no longer claim that such words had ever been uttered.
And it's hearsay. Kenneth Copeland says that he has heard, or people are saying, that Donovan Thomas in his dying breath was saying, "Thug did this to me," or something to that effect. People that were actually at the scene for Donovan Thomas's last breaths have said that that was not said. Sammy Davis took the stand and talked about what had happened there, and that's just street rumor being put out there by Kenneth Copeland.
Let me put some things in context. So when Mr. Copeland is talking about this particular portion, he's actually trying to say, I don't think that all this was said, because he talks about what happened when DB died and how much time it took for him to get to the hospital. So what he actually says is, now how do you know he got shot 4 times in the chest? You know what else they said? They said that they were holding Nut, and Nut said, "I ain't gonna make it, bro." Well, that came out in evidence, because I believe that is what one of the barbershop witnesses said, that he did hear him say, "I ain't gonna make it, bro." Now, the part that the state will redact, because that has not come into evidence, is that Copeland says they said that Nut said Thug ass had something to do with it. We will exclude that portion because we don't believe that that has come into evidence.
On the other hand, Redditors and online detectives have come up with their own theories, many of these placing the blame for Nut's murder firmly on YSL Woody, while others would speculate specifically on what the actual motive was for the murder, with many wild theories claiming that Nut had actually stolen from Birdman, or that he'd even slapped Young Thug's sister. Conversely, the rap industry OG, JT the Bigger Figure, who used to work with Nut and the Rich Gang, would years later tell his story, implying that Nut was indeed killed due to a dispute between Rich Homie Quan's management, this including Nut, and Birdman's Rich Gang, including Thug, who wanted to sign Quan for themselves.
Before me and Nut came together, me and Thug came together, but me and Nut was already, networking. But I'm not no Crip or no Blood, you know what I mean? And then Birdman came to town, and then Birdman put up the money for that Lifestyle song in the video with him and Rich Homie Quan. Boom, the Rich Gang, new Rich Gang started. Nut was Quan, but he was cool with Thug, but he had power over Quan. And then disputes came. Once the disputes came, it wasn't good business no more. The hate and the jealousy. Birdman want Quan to bow down, come up under the Rich Gang. And Nut was like, no, not finna sign that 360 deal, be a broke rapper up under Birdman. Sorry about that, true story. So where did that leave me at? I chose sides with Nut. But before the murder, I was the that was still with Birdman and Thug that could tell Nut this was happening over here. And that Pee-wee start hating because put up all the money while Thug was up under up under the Rich Gang. He accepted my racks, my 30 bands. We did 7 songs and did some video footage, photo shoot. But before I could drop it, the murder happened. Now the beef is on.
Whatever may have been the motive behind Nut's murder, 15 days after his death, Young Thug would allegedly have a conversation with Kyle Ory, also known as Nasty Noo, the alleged leader of the Money Murder Bloods, who's currently serving a life sentence for unrelated RICO charges. During the exchange, one of the two, likely Ory, would reportedly state how sacrifices must be made and soldiers must fall for the battle to be won. Indeed, following Nut's murder, a big rift emerged between the Bloods in Atlanta, with the ABG gang, affiliated with Nut and Lucci, seemingly dropping all association with Money Murder, siding instead completely with the Inglewood family that Nut had been repping. But on the rap side, Rich Homie Quan's relationship with Thug would famously decline from here on out. But for the moment, Quan would at least keep making major moves in the industry as a solo artist, dropping the song Flex almost exactly 1 month after Nut's death, this song becoming his biggest solo hit, peaking at number 26 on the Billboard Hot 100. In the months and years following Nut's death, people would repeatedly ask Quan in interviews about what had happened between him and the Rich Gang, but Quan would typically deny having ever even been officially part of the group, and saying how he simply wanted to focus on his solo career.
Now, what happened with Rich Gang?
Yeah, Rich Gang, like I said, we really just like, we did the first mixtape, you know what I mean? And that was just like a mixtape. We were never in a group, you know what I mean? It was just like, you know what I mean? Bird, you know, we all feeling ourselves, Thug, you know what I mean? And it just like, did that. So, man, now we can focus more on our solo career. Like, it's still family there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's no bad blood there, man. It's just like,
everything calm.
I came in as a solo artist, so did Thug, so did Bird. That was like a collaboration.
Yes.
And now, like, you know what I mean, Thug doing good, much success to him. Bird still making plays, much success to him.
Exactly.
And I'm doing damn good, so much success to my goddamn self.
For real. And everything calm and everything love.
Everything, that's all, man. Everything love, man. No problems, man. I have been focusing more on myself. I've stepped away from the Rich Gang a little bit just to get back to Quan. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool for the moment, but
yeah, it's a moment thing. Like, don't get lost in that sauce.
Yeah. Now, the last time we did an interview, you were down Rich Gang.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't.
Now, seems like not so much.
Well, for one, like, it was just great collaborative music. Like, I was never just Rich Gang. It's just, we were just all solo artists, you know, working on a project together. You know what I mean? I never signed any paperwork. You feel me? I came in, Rich Homie Quan, and that's the way I wanted to leave, man. Despite how much good music we did, all that, you know what I mean? I still want to just always do my own thing. You know what I mean? I just didn't never want nobody to feel as if, like, to say, yeah, well, you know, I did this for Quan, and, you know, Quan the reason, nah. I want to always just be like, yeah, man, I did this because I wanted to do it. You feel me? Nah, but they even, like, go back to the Rich Gang. That was a fun time in my life. Like, we made some great music. You know what I mean? Even now, like, man, I don't got no bad blood with Thug, no Bird. You know what I mean? That we're all in a great place in our life, man, and that's what it's about.
In April 2015, Quan would release the mixtape If You Ever Think I'll Stop Going In, RR. But this project would fail to even chart, and for the next couple years, Quan would fall back from music. And tragically, with his friend Nut no longer around, he would seemingly also fall out with Think It's a Game Records, eventually suing them for $2 million in unpaid royalties, this case ultimately getting settled out of court. Meanwhile, Thug 2 would be asked about Quan's departure from Rich Gang, to which he would simply respond by saying that Quan just had to focus on his career.
Do you have any feelings on the Rich Homie thing, him possibly leaving?
No, he had to focus on his career.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's something that he had to do. He didn't have to do it, but he did it.
Yeah.
However, some years later, Thug would provide a much more cryptic response, first telling Big Boy that the two men had no issues with each other, but then implying that things had happened behind the scenes that had soured their relationship for good.
What's the relationship with Quan, with Rich Homie?
No, we don't have no problem.
Okay.
Like, I don't think we can be like how we used to be.
Right.
He already just did some bull. He already know my heart, so it's like, once you just, I'm too pure. So once you just, you do that, it's like, no. I forgive. I always forgive. If I kill a person, I pray to God that He forgive me. If I do something to a person, I pray I get forgiveness. So I always forgive. I don't ever hold grudges on nobody. I forgive everybody.
But on the shallow end, you know how people want more music and people want to put y'all together. You don't see that happening.
No,
right?
Because it'll be just.
It's more personal simple. As opposed to.
Yeah, it's nothing about music. It's 100% personal. Like this was my brother.
Yeah,
it's just like, bro. Now it's like, man, you probably can't never get the blessing of having me on the song, and I can never get the blessing of having you on the song again.
Damn. And as you say that to us, I don't know what you're talking about, but Quan, he know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, he did a show before, and I think a guy had touched his leg on the stage, like a fan was like, yo, he was standing on the end of the stage, and people was touching him, grabbing his shoes, and he was like, yo, I ain't with that thug. And it's just like, damn, you my brother, like, got your name tattooed on me. Like, what the f you doing? So it's just like, it's like that. Like, I forgive him because I know he really be drunk. Quan get drunk.
Damn.
He get drunk to the point where I have to carry him out the club. Like, so I know for a fact he was drunk, but it's like.
However, in July 2023, the YouTuber and snitch exposer 1090 Jake would provide evidence about what had really happened behind the scenes, showing the world police interview footage of Quan talking to detectives about the murder of Nut and essentially admitting that everyone in the streets knew that Thug had something to do with Nut's murder, but they just couldn't prove it.
Everybody been talking about it. I'm gonna just be a man and answer myself.
Right.
It's crazy, man. We just can't prove. Right. Point blank period. I ain't no rat. I ain't telling no. I'm just being real with y'all. I got how much I love Nut, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, real.
Hip-hop's top commentator DJ Academics would also share his opinion about the events, saying how Nut's murder had essentially ended Quan's career.
Rich homie Quan is with some street over this side. Young Thug is calling shots and doing his thing over here. When there is now bloodshed, everybody got to go to their corner. You can't still be like, oh, nah, we're just doing some music together. It's over at that point. It's officially over. His career as an artist is essentially up because he could no longer Thug. Tell me if I'm right or I'm wrong. We didn't see any more public appearances with them. Rich homie Quan, rather than run to the net and explain to the fans, yo, this homie's killed my man. He didn't say it. Obviously, Rich homie Quan didn't say that. He just kind of fell back and just acted like, oh, no, I'm a solo artist. He kept it really street. Because what happened after Donovan Nut Thomas gets killed, mad shooting start happening. Remember, Rich homie Quan was signed to Think It's a Game Entertainment. Who was his label mate? YSL Woody. Those Inglewood Mafia people, or Inglewood family people, that's Rich homie Quan's gang. After Donovan Nut Thomas gets killed, mad shootings happen. I think the police even say like dozens of shootings happen, and they realize to properly investigate those shootings, they got to go to the origin. And the origin is Donovan Nut Thomas dying.
For Young Thug, on the other hand, the years following Nut's death brought nothing but success, and over the next few years, he would embark on a creative run of success that most rappers can only dream of, dropping classic project after classic project, and in the span of just 7 years, building up a legendary legacy as both a rapper and a fashion icon. But every step of the way, the authorities in Atlanta were watching out for clues and building a case to try and take Young Thug down right when he was about to reach the very pinnacle of his career. And for Young Thug, prolific self-snitcher on the microphone, there was certainly no shortage of self-incriminating lyrics to help those feds piece things together. Before King Von's untimely passing, his rap career was rising rapidly. After the success of Crazy Story, he continued to drop bangers. In February 2020, he released perhaps my favorite song of his, Took Her to the O, a song all about taking an attractive female back to his hood, O Block. However, the music video and narrative for this song had a dark hidden meaning, as Von was somebody who not only allegedly killed people in the gang war, but he was also a relentless troll who thrived on beef. In the video, he would have an actor that actually looked like one of his most hated rivals, FBG Duck, and the video would even depict Von shooting Duck and leaving him dead on the ground. However, this was more than just a fantasy video prodding his rival, because within 6 months of that video that depicted Duck shot dead on the ground being released, it would seem that Von and his closest friends conspired to make that happen in real life, with events unfolding that put all of the surviving shooters behind bars for good, and potentially creating a multi-million-dollar liability for Lil Durk. As everyone following the drill scene likely knows by now, FBG Duck's murder was allegedly part of a long-running beef between two gang sets from the south side of Chicago. Chicago. Duck's set, STLEBT, sometimes referred to as 63rd or Tuckerville, largely identify as gangster disciples. On the other side is O Block, who are primarily black disciples, this being the set where the majority of Duck's convicted killers hail from. A deadly feud between these two factions, who exist just a stone's throw away from each other, stretches back more than a decade, particularly throughout the 2010s, when this feud would claim the lives of many young men in the area, with Redditors speculating that at least 10 people lost their lives in this deadly beef. But to understand exactly how Lil Durk became part of this beef, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. Some of the first mentions online about the beef between STLEBT and O Block, or Wick City as it was known then, date all the way back to the early 2010s, although likely the beef had already started in the late 2000s. However, as already alluded to earlier, this war was never just between these two sets, but rather between numerous gang sets whose affiliations and rivalries were commonly based on their overarching gang identities, these being the Gangster Disciples and the Black Disciples, or the GDs versus the BDs, with sets like O Block, Lamron, 600, Front Street, and TYMB being clicked up on the BD side, while sets like STL, EBT, Gyro City, Taekwon World, MOB, and Brick Squad would form an alliance on the GD side. When it comes to the specific affiliation between O Block and Lamron, the prosecutors in the criminal case against FBG Duck's alleged killers would claim that this began in the early 2010s, as testified by one of the cooperators in the case. However, while the rivalry technically existed between all the sets from the two sides, the BDs and the GDs, it was often determined by proximity to other sets. Therefore, the beefs between certain sets were much more fierce than other beefs. Looking at these different sets on the map, it's no surprise then that the beef between sets like O Block, Front Street, and 600 and TYMB on one side, and STL, EBT, Gyro City, Taekwon World, and MOB on the other side was particularly fierce, as most of these sets were located only a few blocks away from each other. Meanwhile, Durk's set was located in Englewood, which is on the other side of the I-90 and I-94 highways. And while technically only about 1.5 miles away from places like O Block, it was still worlds apart from the Woodlawn and Washington Park neighborhoods where the aforementioned sets were having their beef. And because of this distance, Lamron wasn't really in an active war against sets like Duck's STL EBT, as they were largely consumed by their own local rivalries in Englewood with sets like the Brick Squad. In fact, in March 2011, Lil Durk would feature in the song We Ball, which also featured members of the rap group Buck 20 Brick Boys. One of these members being the rapper Billionaire Black, who was even pictured around Lil Durk at this time. However, Billionaire Black was at this point already heavily affiliated with rival sets like STL, EBT, and Gyro City, and only 2 months later, Billionaire Black would make the song E-Day Is You Serious, together with none other than FBG Duck himself, this song being a diss towards the rapper E-Day from the 600 set, who on the other hand was already at this point clicked up with Durk's Lamron crew, rapping in his song What Up from April 2011 how he's throwing up L's for Lamron with Durk's good friend Chief Wook. After this debacle, it seems that Durk and the rest of Lamron would quickly make their affiliation with the BD side known, and even get somewhat involved in the rivalry against the GDs in Woodlawn and the Washington Park neighborhoods, because as mentioned earlier, later that same year in October, Lil Durk would get arrested together with Lil Reese due to an investigative alert, which was allegedly due to a shooting that had happened in late August 2011 where 4 teens had gotten shot in Woodlawn, with one of these allegedly being FBG Butter, a member of STL EBT and a good friend of Duck. FBG Butter would be a big part of this early beef, particularly between STL EBT and O Block. He would tell DJ Vlad in an interview about the juvenile origins of this beef, revealing that King Von actually threw his hat in the mud as a kid, and that years later he'd actually beaten up Von on the bus after school, which apparently caused Von to become very vengeful.
When we were shorties, through my church religion had in the mud down in the basement of the back of his mama's house. I threw my downstairs in the basement to the mud. Bro, I beat his in too. One of the guys at school, I guess they was in that shooting ice or whatever. Folks who he got into it with was too big for him. And folks just told him like, wait till we get out of school, I'm gonna have my little homie scratch you out. Talking crazy, not knowing who his little homie is. So when I came on the bus, folks like, man, whoop him, buddy. I'm like, man, buddy, yo, tweaking, whatever. Broski said whoop you, so I had to whoop him.
There are also some more serious examples from these early days where Lamron allegedly became directly involved in the rivalry against STL EBT. For example, when in 2011, a young man affiliated with STL EBT named Dale Fisher was gunned down in Woodlawn. Some of Dale's friends would seemingly blame Lamron for this murder, and similarly, when a member of STL EBT called Doc, real name Marlon Monroe, was gunned down in Woodlawn in April 2012, the police would state in their investigative report that people close to Doc held Lamron as one of the parties responsible for his death on social media, and as I covered in my video about King Von, there's evidence to suggest that Von himself may well have pulled the trigger during both of these murders. Or, if you're to believe FBG Butter, also known as Cooperator 3 during Duck's murder trial, Dale may have also been killed by Von's best friend T-Roy, together with another infamous shooter D. Rose from the set 600. But in any case, April 2012 is when FBG Duck himself would aim his perhaps first musical diss towards Dirk's Lamron crew, dropping his song I'm St. Lawrence, also known as Chief Keef and Soulja Boy diss. The song is a remix of Chief Keef's 300 song, with 300 also being a number that was originally repped particularly by Dirk's Lamron set and people affiliated with it. Duck begins the song by saying that it's F-O Block and F Lamron, which is a direct response to Keef's line in the original 300 song dissing Duck's dead friend Tuka from STL EBT. About a month earlier, Dirk had also released his hit song L's Anthem, which was also repping the 300 moniker, whilst also dissing Lamron's biggest rivals, Bricc Squad. As a response to Dirk's dissing, the rapper Lil Jojo from Bricc Squad would release his song BDK in April, aimed particularly at Dirk and Lamron. However, the chorus of the song would go much further than that, essentially dissing all of the Black Disciple sets in Chicago, as Jojo would announce that he and his set are BDK, or Black Disciple Killers. All of this was happening at a moment when the drill music movement was blowing up, way past the borders of Chicago to worldwide notoriety, all with the help of Chief Keef. And with the possibilities of fame and fortune at the fingertips of every driller and drill rapper, this created the perfect conditions for the gang war between the BD and GD factions to escalate. And soon, FBG Duck would join in on the BD killer movement too, tweeting the same sentiment. And from there, Duck and STL EBT would get heavily affiliated with Jojo and Bricc Squad, with Bricc Squad and STL EBT, and particularly Jojo and Duck, then becoming the biggest faces of the GD side within the drill scene, together with guys like Lil J, who was focusing heavily on dissing Chief Keef and O-Block in his music. But unfortunately, in early September 2012, Lil Jojo would be gunned down in Bricc Squad's neighborhood, becoming the first highly publicized example of how beefs in this new musical genre of drill could lead to real-life deaths in the streets. Jojo's murder would go unsolved, and it would do little to steer guys like Duck away from dissing the BD side in music or on social media. In fact, it would only incite more dissing, with Duck tweeting after Jojo's death that he would be continuing the BDK legacy in his memory. One person from the BD side who Duck would go back and forth with on social media was none other than King Von, with one time even Von's own sister Kayla B getting involved in their beef and taking the GD side in tweets seeming to back Duck up. Every now and then, Duck's dissing would also be aimed at Lil Durk personally, like in September 2013 when he would call Durk a fake gangster on Twitter, as well as dissing J Money, one of Durk's close friends from O-Block who was killed in 2013, allegedly by a member of STL EBT called Lil B. Durk would seemingly respond the next month in October when he would drop his classic drill song Competition featuring Lil Reese, where he would call Duck Lil Duck and rap how that he can't duck Durk's gun. Later that month, Duck's friend Lil J, who Durk had also dissed, would drop his response to the song titled Competition Domination, where he would call Durk an actor and tell how he was going to put him under the dirt. Duck would also continue throwing little jabs at Durk on social media, like in October 2014, some months after Durk's beloved cousin Newski had been killed, when Duck would take to Twitter just to announce that he was smoking on Newski. Durk would seemingly respond to these jabs in December 2014 when he would feature on the remix for E-Day's song War. This was perhaps Durk's most brazen diss so far, as he would begin his verse by saying how he's considered to be the one who initially sparked the GD versus BD war, this being a reference to how Lil Jojo had seemingly created the BDK song as a direct response to Lil Durk's L's Anthem song. Durk would then up the ante and diss numerous people and sets from the GD side of the war, including Duck's STL EBT set, and two of his close friends who had been killed in the war, Tuka and KI. A few years would pass, but in 2016, Duck would continue dissing on the music side, as he would release his mixtape, This How I'm Comin', which would begin with an intro song where Duck would once again diss Durk's cousin, Newski. In 2017, the war between the BDs and the GDs would intensify considerably, after one of O-Block's most beloved members and the best friend of King Von, T-Roy, would be gunned down inside of a corner store, and the people responsible for T-Roy's murder were allegedly TB or Terry Barry from Quan World and Can't Get Right aka Get Right or Man Man from STL EBT, who would be seen posing for a picture in the exact same clothing from the surveillance footage of the murder earlier that month, while one of the people in the photo would be none other than FBG Duck himself. Duck would also go live on Instagram shortly after T-Roy's murder, where his brother Bricc can be heard talking about the murder before Duck cuts him off and makes some very disrespectful statements.
Look on them on here going crazy. They so happy. It been funny as hell because I know folks know proud. They got him out the way. I know. I'm on live, G. Shut the up. It's funny. Before you even get it, it just came on. But still, it's Instagram. It deleted instantly. It just came on. But damn, G, don't stop. Damn, merchant, they pop T-Roy. It must don't be, it must ain't that important. It ain't all over the internet. I ain't see it.
T-Roy's death would cause a chain reaction of revenge killings, where O-Block and 600 would team up to create what they called the Get Back Gang, a group of killers hell-bent on avenging or getting back for T-Roy, with numerous people losing their lives during this period, including Duck's very own brother FBG Bricc, who was gunned down in a brutal double murder. But all of this wouldn't seem to scare Duck, who would keep dissing his enemies in his music, like the song Smoke that he would release with Chirac's official peace pusher, FYB J-Mane, who at the time was still in his over-whooping era dissing all the ops. J-Mane would rap incredibly disrespectful bars, like how he was smoking on Durk's good friends, the late rapper LA Capone and the O-Block member J Money, or Durk's manager Chino, and in his verse, Duck too would join in the smoke-a-thon of Durk's friends, before also rapping how he was going to slide to Durk's hood in Lamron, aka 64th and Normal, and shoot it up. But talking about sliding, while he didn't quite know it yet at the time, Duck was on the cusp of his big breakthrough, as he would release the second installment of his This Is How I'm Coming mixtape series, which would include the hit song Slide. After the release of the music video for the song in January 2018, the track would go viral, taking Duck's career to the next level as he would suddenly become a nationwide drill star, arguably for the first time in his career actually reaching fans outside of the drill niche. He would get noticed by major hip-hop publications like XXL magazine, and the song would even lead to Duck signing his first ever record deal, and getting a major co-sign by the Atlanta rapper 21 Savage, who hopped on the remix. 21, who had previously done music with Lil Durk, and moving in the same circles of rappers living in Atlanta, was seemingly unaware about the long-running tension between Duck and Durk. He must not have even realized that some fans were suggesting that the entire Slide song was actually a huge diss towards OTF. But anyway, during 2018, this was also the year when Durk was making a comeback musically with the help of his new street prodigy, King Von, whose beef with Duck was much more personal due to the years-running war between O-Block and the GD sets of Woodlawn, such as Duck's STL EBT set, with Von himself rumored to have been behind the murders of several people affiliated with Duck's set. Therefore, it was no surprise then that since Von's first hit song, the December 2018 release track Crazy Story, he would often aim disses directly at STL EBT, even creating the popular catchphrase dissing that neighborhood, saying "We not from 63rd," and even going as far as to create numerous pieces of merch so fans could also express their dislike of Duck's block. Duck would seemingly respond to Von in a scathing diss track together with another GD rapper and his own cousin, Ruger, who would ultimately make his own nationwide breakthrough a few years later with his track GD Anthem. But back then, it would be this song, a remix of King Von and Mimo 600's track Exposing Me, that would include disrespectful mentions of numerous dead members from the BD side of the war, with the track remaining to be one of the most brutal diss songs released in this entire feud. A few months later, Durk would let it be known that he too was joining Von's crusade against Duck and his set, as Von and Durk would release Crazy Story Part 2, which ends with Durk repeating how they're lurking in 63rd, looking to catch their enemies. However, at the end of 2019, something surprising would take place, as Duck would release his song Chicago Legends, where he would pay tribute to many fallen rappers from Chicago, one of these being Durk's cousin Newski, whom Duck had dissed in the past several times. It's hard to say exactly what Duck's motives were. On the one hand, he could have been purely trying to push peace, but on the other, perhaps he was simply just trying to create a song that he knew would get some attention in the media. But one thing was clear, Von was certainly not interested in pushing peace, and only a few months later, he would release his song Took Her to the O. To a mainstream listener, the song seemed like a rather standard trap club song, with Von's trademark storytelling style playing a major role. But to drill fans, the song was a dedicated diss track, where Von would essentially lay out a story where he runs into Duck as Von is courting the same girl. This encounter would ultimately end in Von killing Duck and taking that girl. The song would also include disses towards Duck that only the most dedicated Chiracologists would likely know, like Von making a funny but disrespectful wordplay about Duck picking up a brick and then merching it, or swearing in the name of his brother Bricc, who had been killed in 2017. Took Her to the O was a smash hit, which now has over 300 million views on YouTube alone, and after the song's release, it was clear that Duck would have to make a stern response. His response would come only about a week later, releasing the track I'm From 63rd. Interestingly, while the song as a whole was a direct response to Von and his favourite catchphrase, it was actually Durk who Duck would address by name, essentially little boying Von, making it seem as if it was the big dog Durk who had sent Von to diss him on his behalf, as well as acknowledging how Durk and Duck had been going back and forth on wax long before Von had even picked up a microphone. But Duck wasn't done with the dissing, and it was his next diss song which would be one of his most disrespectful ones yet, and unfortunately also his last song, the infamous track Dead. Duck would begin the song by immediately announcing that the Chicago Legends track was nothing but business, before going straight back to dissing dead people from the BD side. Duck would also acknowledge Von mentioning his brother Bricc in the song Took Her to the O, saying that Bricc had been slinging dope when Von was still doing kid stuff like swimming and fishing, before dropping some more highly disrespectful bars about dead members from sets like 600 and O-Block. Unfortunately, the rest is history. Dead certainly increased the size of the target on Duck's back, but regardless at this point, he was the most high-profile GD rapper from 63rd and probably the biggest trophy in the streets for his ops. Sadly, in August 2020, about a month after releasing that song, Duck would end up getting brutally gunned down by members and affiliates of O-Block in a brazen, broad daylight attack in Chicago's most upscale shopping district, located in the Gold Coast neighborhood, right in front of the Dolce & Gabbana store. Now, if you want to see a deep dive all into the details of the murder of FBG Duck and the aftermath, you can go and check out my 2.5-hour video just on that topic. topic, but for the purpose of this video, let's keep things brief and focused on Durk's connection to the crime. Because right after Duck's murder, Durk would once again be caught right in the middle of an Instagram live when fans would begin to barrage him with comments about Duck's passing, with Durk acting like nothing had ever happened, showing himself hopping off a private jet in good spirits, while completely ignoring the imploring messages about the death of his biggest enemy.
Seen fans make a plan, watch the score in the mail. You know, 39 years I heard them crying to sell. Boy, getting money right up. I took a picture on my block, they think I'm back in the field.
Von, on the other hand, would come out with the most unconvincing statement, trolling the whole world, saying how the two had settled their differences right before Duck's passing, even adding sarcastic lines about how he was going to be thinking of Duck every step of the way, and also making snide remarks about how Duck had been dissing his dead friends and family members. Meanwhile, as time went on, the feds would get involved in Duck's murder investigation and track down the entire route that the killers had taken to the murder scene, tracing their origin back all the way to O Block, with surveillance footage literally filming the entire crime, with them driving from O Block to the murder, committing it, and then driving back again. However, even with all of this evidence, it would be over a year before the feds would even be able to move in with their indictment. But eventually, in September 2021, the feds would indict 5 people for the murder of Duck. Charles Liggins, aka C Murder, Kenneth Robertson, aka Kenny Mac, DeCarlos Offord, aka Los, Christopher Thomas, aka C-Thang, and Marcus Smart, aka Moowop, as well as another man, Ralph Turpin, aka Teasy, who had been the person that spotted Duck and gave up his location. With such a clear trail left behind by the so-called O Block 6, also known as the Sloppy 6, it was inevitable that they would also eventually be found guilty, and all 6 are ultimately facing mandatory life sentences, while a 7th person associated with the murder, Zell Munna from O Block, would sadly end up taking his own life before the FBI could indict him. However, during and after the trial, the discussion would also focus on the possible culpability of Von and Lil Durk in Duck's murder, particularly as the prosecution's legal documents would claim that Turpin, aka Teasy, had allegedly called someone after he spotted Duck in the shopping district, asking around to get put in contact with Lil Durk's brother and manager, D-Thang, who was coincidentally no longer alive by the time these arrests took place. The indictment would also mention a person named as Individual E, who pretty clearly appears to be Lil Durk, being listed as a high-ranking member of the BDs, with these details suggesting that even the FBI wasn't ruling out the possibility of Lil Durk's personal involvement in the hit on FBG Duck, but avoiding naming him specifically. In fact, based on these documents, some YouTubers would even claim that D-Thang would have been indicted too if he hadn't been killed in June 2021. Furthermore, it would be revealed that there had allegedly been up to a $100,000 bounty placed on Duck's head leading up to the murder, with many pointing out to a vlog filmed in O Block a couple months before the murder took place that showed Von giving out wads of cash to other members as potential proof of this bounty being handed down. Furthermore, the person placing this bounty allegedly being someone who bought custom-made chains for O Block members. Indeed, the Fed's investigation would also focus on the so-called O Block chains that King Von had actually purchased for many members of his set both before and after Duck's murder, with many of the alleged killers of Duck also receiving one, as Von would apparently spend over $100,000 to buy altogether 16 O Block chains. The timing of these purchases and the distribution of the chains to prominent members of O Block, including the alleged killers, appeared to symbolize loyalty and respect within the gang's ranks, as well as possibly being a reward for a job well done with regards to the Duck murder. For example, Moowop could be seen with Von at the jewelry store shopping for additional O Block chains a mere 6 days after the murder, while others like C Murder could also be seen posing with the chain on his social media just a few days after the murder. Interestingly, also Lil Durk himself seemingly received one of these chains, while Boss Top was alleged to be one of the leaders of O Block alongside Von during the trial, with Top actually describing the chain as a hood trophy. But wearing the O Block chain was by no means Lil Durk's only connection to Duck's murder, because in the years following Duck's passing, Lil Durk would diss FBG Duck several times in his music. For example, in his December 2020 song Redman, Durk would mention how he knows someone who died with a famous name, but his friends still haven't slid for him, this possibly being a reference to the fact that FBG Duck's set, STL-EBT, aka Tucaville, would seemingly not retaliate following his murder, with apparent posts circulating suggesting that Duck's people were frustrated that nobody actually got revenge for him. However, the more clear-cut disses towards FBG Duck would start in early 2021, as Lil Durk would release the brutally named song Should've Ducked, together with Memphis rapper Pooh Shiesty, where Lil Durk raps how he gets so high, he gets high as Duck, a reference to Duck being dead and in heaven. As Duck's mother, Lashina Weekly, aka Mama Duck, would hear Durk play the song in late 2020, she would hop on social media to point out how Durk was monetizing her son's death, whilst also mentioning how Lil Durk had not been mentioning FBG Duck while he was alive, seemingly unaware of just how far back the animosity between these two goes.
Now he wanna get high. He about to get high like Duck. Dirk. He hurt V-Roy. Well, he better take that who made the V-Roy gone, not my mother son. Cause he ain't do it. Remember they had a song together. Remember they had their differences. Study one for the industry. This is proof. Y'all really showing y'all rich off mixing in my mother son. Y'all rich out mixing it tuka. Show your craft. Do something else besides this and music. Show my that you really could go pop. Like my son was trying to do. He was trying to cross over. Yo, sitting up here mixing in somebody who ain't getting too about you. He was right. You probably did Illuminati him. You probably did send him to get bodied. Now you study this and my son. And it's Christmas. Beautiful Christmas. That don't make no sense. How y'all used to be as one. Y'all got y'all ass in the industry and blackball all the GDs. Trying to anyway, I'ma just keep that shit real. Don't make no sense. Why is this man mixing in my son? He never did it while he was alive. And if he did do it, he sneak dissed and do it. He sneak dissed and do it. He always went around it. Oh, now you're so freely. You can say my son's name. He knocked your op, baby. Go out to the motherfuckers who got your sick. You feeling like us. We ought to unite and show these or whatever the case may be. You coming for the wrong baby.
The dissing would continue only a few months later on OTF's group album Loyal Bros, which would interestingly feature the infamous O Block chain on the cover. And in his verse for the song Dying to Hit 'Em, Duck would make another rather obvious reference to Duck getting killed outside the Dolce & Gabbana store, saying that the ops get dropped right at designer stores. In June 2021, a few months before O Block members would be hit with the indictment, Lil Durk would release a joint album together with Atlanta rapper Lil Baby titled Voice of the Heroes, which would include the song Still Runnin' featuring Meek Mill. And in his verse, Lil Durk would rap several bars that seemed to insinuate people close to him being behind Duck's murder, as he would say how his team might have taken a few L's, but in Chicago they're winning for sure, before making a poorly disguised reference to FBG Duck, which is only covered by the sound of a gunshot, whilst also mentioning how Duck had nowhere to go when he tried to run and failed ducking when the shooting started. Lil Durk would seemingly even enjoy making creative disses towards Duck in his personal life. In March 2022, one of the world's most famous country music stars, Morgan Wallen, who had been collaborating with Lil Durk, would respond to one of Durk's posts with a bunch of duck emojis. As drill fans would see this, they would quickly check Morgan in the comments. After that, Morgan Wallen would publish an apology, saying that he had no clue that he was disrespecting the dead, and saying that Durk would always talk to him about going duck hunting, with fans quickly realizing that Durk had seemingly been trolling Morgan Wallen behind the scenes, telling him that duck hunting was one of his favorite hobbies. Wallen, who is actually an avid duck hunter himself, had no idea what this dark alternative meaning might have meant to Lil Durk. Fans would actually even make note of Durk's many references to FBG Duck, with memes being made joking about how hard Durk seemed to work on coming up with complicated and intricate ways to diss FBG Duck. However, in November 2022, Lil Durk would seemingly have a change of heart, as he would announce to Rolling Stone magazine that he was done dissing the dead. This announcement, interestingly, taking place only a few months after the murder of Lil Pab that Durk would eventually be indicted for. But anyway, in January 2023, FBG Duck's mother would comment on the case against his son's killers, saying how she was not going to be satisfied until everyone in the murder would face justice, before making a special emphasis on the word everyone. And in a now deleted comment, she would further specify how she found it unbelievable that Lil Durk wouldn't also get locked up for the murder. However, a few months later, she would seemingly change her mind, instead contacting Durk via Instagram to congratulate him on the anti-violence initiatives that he was working on in Chicago with his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation, and asking if Durk would also meet with her Mothers of Peace Foundation. But perhaps, rather unsurprisingly, it doesn't seem that Durk ever took her up on her offer, and it soon seemed that Mama Duck would have a change of heart again, taking aim at Durk with a vengeance. As in October 2024, FBG Duck's mother, together with the mother of his child and another man, the latter two who both got shot during FBG Duck's murder, would actually sue Lil Durk, King Von's estate, and several record labels who had done business with OTF for the wrongful death of FBG Duck. The rap media would report on this explosive wrongful death lawsuit. This civil case filed by a law firm on behalf of FBG Duck's family alleges that Lil Durk, together with King Von and their affiliated groups OTF and O Block, conspired to kill Duck and then profit from his murder.
It's been 4 years since Chicago rapper FBG Duck was killed, and his mother's pain is still raw.
Not a day goes by that I don't think about him and the life that was taken from him.
FBG Duck, whose real name was Carlton Weekly, was gunned down on the Gold Coast by a group of masked men as he waited to enter the Dolce & Gabbana store August of 2020. His girlfriend, Cache Williams, and another man also wounded in the attack. They joined Weekly's mother in filing a lawsuit Wednesday, alleging rap superstar Lil Durk had a hand in the gang-related killing, wanting to take out Weekly. Their years-long rivalry playing out in a series of violent drill rap songs.
Our complaint law lays out that a $100,000 bounty was placed on the life of FBG Duck to have him killed.
The lawsuit names a wide-ranging list of defendants, including Lil Durk, his record label, Only the Family, or OTF, and other larger labels that partnered with OTF, like Sony and UMG Interscope.
The lawsuit would make several serious claims about Durk and OTF, which in light of Durk's recent criminal charges could be incredibly damning for him financially, such as claiming that OTF is actually the media outpost of the O-Block criminal organization, and that prior to being incorporated as a music label, OTF was actually a collective of gangs consisting of O-Block 600, Lamron, THF, and other Black Disciple sets, as well as saying that OTF, the label, had acted as a conglomerate for these street gangs and a hub for their activity. The suit would then claim that OTF, the label, knew, or should have known, that the gang members that they had signed and employed were engaging in acts of serious violence and criminal activity. One of the prime examples being King Von himself, who the lawsuit would claim had taken part in robberies, assaults, and batteries in the presence of Lil Durk, with this being a probable reference to the 2019 incident in Atlanta, where Durk and Von were charged with attempted murder. One of the key claims of the lawsuit would seemingly be that Durk and Von had directly taunted FBG Duck before and after his death, and that the goal of this taunting was to expand the brand of OTF and to further the criminal enterprise of O-Block. Perhaps most damningly, the suit also claimed that Lil Durk and his brother D-Thang knew about the alleged $100,000 bounty that Von had put on Duck, and that D-Thang facilitated the events that led to Duck's murder, and that Lil Durk, King Von, and the O-Block 6 entered into agreements with each other to orchestrate the wrongful death of Duck to promote their commercial interests in selling music. These are some serious allegations, but whether or not they'll be able to actually prove this in court is another matter. Some of the claims, particularly the claims about the music, might be a little problematic, given the fact that there had been a lot of dissing between both FBG Duck and Lil Durk and Von, a beef which was very much a two-way street when they were all alive, something that both sides had engaged in for around a decade. In fact, you could even make the argument that FBG Duck not only started the dissing between him and Lil Durk, but also made the more vicious diss song, calling out numerous dead rivals from the BD side of the war, and obviously profiting from it too. But then again, FBG Duck is dead, and Lil Durk is still alive, and there's a big difference between diss songs and bullets. But on the other hand, OTF should probably have no less obligations than any other large media company. For example, what if it would turn out that CNN had hired some serious criminals to work for them and knowingly allowed their employees to murder people so that they had a constant supply of viral news clips, allowing them to rake in millions of dollars? It's probably safe to say that such a media company would not only get sued, but there's a fair chance to say that they would lose and people would go to prison. However, for now, it remains to be seen what, if anything, will come of this lawsuit. But the connection between FBG Duck's murder and Lil Durk seems to be something that's more than a coincidence. What is clear though, is that the murder of FBG Duck was only the first of many that have now been connected to Lil Durk, and the following year in 2021, before the arrest of those responsible for Duck's murder, Lil Durk would end up experiencing a death of someone very close to him, someone who was allegedly involved in that murder of FBG Duck, his brother D-Thang, a loss which Durk took incredibly personally, and according to online rumors and recent paperwork, incited Durk to put money in the street to get revenge, money that would apparently lead to not just one, but 3 people losing their lives.